Welcome to Birds of a Feather, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, exit 17 on the Parkway, BMWAtlanticCity.com. The first half brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. This is Chux Moradin, joined by Paulie. It's been a while, man.
It's been a couple weeks, and as you
you
can tell, I am still struggling.
Still a little sick
Life
over
is
there.
still very difficult for me in the whole talking department. Although I feel like this kind of works. Maybe I'll just stick to this. I'll just kind of talk like this all the time.
The raspiness, I know some chicks love the raspiness of the voice. So
well, I don't have to worry about that. But yeah.
but hey, like I told you, an ugly voice is better than no voice.
Yes.
So
if this was yesterday, there's no shot I'm here because it was not pretty yesterday.
And then we're joined also by the Westbrook little mannequin thing, whatever you want to call, that I donated a while ago because we need some Westbrook stuff here at the studio. And of course, always joined on the ones and twos by Mr. Brodo.
Hello, guys.
What's going on, Ryan?
Hello, Paulie. It's been a
Hey,
while,
good to
as
see you,
stated
bud.
before.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been. It's weird because I've been here since daylight saving time, and it's the first time I've driven up here, and the sun's been out.
Yeah, how about that?
It's
It's weird.
nice, right?
It was weird. It was a different
you
experience.
You would think it's spring.
Yeah,
You would think it's
a
spring.
totally different experience for me.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Well, guys, our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports is as follows. So I can get to it. Assuming Saquon Barkley is taken, would drafting a running back with the 32nd pick be a good move for the Eagles? Choices are no, yes, and only if it's Geis. So those are selections we're going to go off of. I'm going to dive right into it. Paulie, poll question. What do you think?
So,
Because I know you had an article a while ago addressing this. So
Right.
let's get your take.
so I don't think we've talked about this many times, Charles, and I feel like there are a few directions the Eagles could go at 32 where I would be upset. I think the only thing I'd be upset with is probably a quarterback, which they obviously will not do. That would probably be the only pick that I would disagree with. If they were to take a running back, especially in this crop, because let's say theoretically, like we said, Barkley's gone. We all know that. Geis, we've talked about this too. I think Geis will probably be gone too. I don't think he makes it to pick 32. So then after that, you're looking at Ronald Jones, who I think might actually be the best fit out of all the running backs at the top of the class.
Yeah.
I think he might be the best fit for this offense. I just see his running style and his ability. I see the comparison a lot of people have made. I see Jamal Charles. And Jamal Charles had his most success, a lot of success, I should say, under Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, in that Chiefs offense. So it would make a whole lot of sense to bring in a similar player to this offense. Plus, I think he would be a good complement to
go ahead.
He would be a good complement to what they already have with Jay Ajayi and Corey Clement. I think that Ronald Jones would kind of fit in seamlessly with that. Then the other guy I think that's worth mentioning too is Sony Michel.
Yeah.
That guy has done nothing but improve his stock, and I think he's proven that he could be a number one back in this league. So I think to say either Geis or bust, I think is a little silly because I think Ronald Jones or Sony Michel at pick 32 could help this football team, help them right away and in the future.
I agree. I think that with me, the way I have them ranked now, and I pretty much finalized my running back rankings, and I plan on posting them in an article for A2D probably like next week. I think I'll do it, but I have them ranked. I did it by tiers, and I had Barkley and Geis at tier 1. Tier 2, I have the two guys you mentioned. I have Sony Michel at 3 and then Ronald Jones at 4. Now, between those two, I've been flip-flopping them because I will watch a little bit more of each, and then I'll be like, oh, I love this about Ronald Jones, but then I love this about Sony Michel. I think either one would be great pickups at 32.
Yeah.
Now, I would rather have Geis, but like I said, I highly doubt he's there. He's getting a lot of buzz in the first round. I think he visited with the Patriots the other day. I know he's had visits with plenty of teams. and I could see him going anywhere as high as, I don't know, somewhere in the teens.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't think that's crazy to say at all. I think he could easily go in the teens.
yeah. People are talking about Barkley, and rightfully so. Barkley is, to me, still the consensus number one running back. There are some in the scouting community that actually put Geis above him though because of his superior vision at this point.
A runner, as a pure
As a
runner,
yeah.
people say Geis, and I would agree. I think you and I both would agree that Geis does tend to identify the hole quicker and hit the right hole more often than Barkley. But Barkley does have more, I guess you would say, special traits than Geis as far as the speed and the power.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, they are like neck and neck. I mean,
I don't think I hear what you're saying. I don't think the gap is as big as people make it out to be. I think they're pretty, like, Barkley's clearly the best, but I think Geis is not as far behind him as people are painting it right now.
Exactly. And so even though those two might not be available, I'm really high on Ronald Jones and Sony Michel. I mean, Ronald Jones, I guess his stock has kind of dropped because of his injury that he sustained in the combine, and then I mean, I showed you the reports about at his pro day, and you showed me all his other workouts. He's still hurt. But the tape doesn't lie. We've all seen how special
exactly.
he is.
He's a home run hitter. You see, there's so many plays at USC where you see he's running by legit Pac-12 defenses, and he's scoring touchdowns on long runs where he's creating the room on his own, and he's making those plays himself.
Which is what we are missing. And you're talking about this backfield. This running back backfield, we don't have a home run hitter ever since LaShawn McCoy left, and we had Sproles, but his future with the team is in question. He's still unsigned.
Yeah,
so we don't have that home run hitter anymore. And when we had Sproles, he's not so much as like a burner or he's a big play guy, but Ronald Jones' explosion and speed is on another level.
Yeah, Ronald. I mean, and not only that, you're just getting a younger player.
Yeah,
you're getting a young, and I also think I think Ronald Jones was slightly misused a little bit at USC because they ran him a lot between the tackles.
Yeah,
and he's more of an outside zone type of runner that fits his style better, that fits his abilities better. But the fact is, he did it at USC, and he was a bell cow at USC. So you factor that in, and I think that's where his value comes from even more so than a Darren Sproles.
Exactly.
If you have him in a committee with Ajayi and Clement going forward, and then let's say, I know, Charles, this is like your worst nightmare, I'm about to say, let's say Jay Ajayi walks next season and he's gone, and you're left with...
It's sad, but I'm expecting it, to be honest.
So then if you're left with Ronald Jones and Corey Clement, you're in okay shape. You know what I mean? You're not desperate. You're not desperate for a running back if you draft Ronald Jones.
Exactly. Now, I did forget to mention that if you realize that there's kind of someone missing, Chrome is he's still on his way back from WrestleMania in New Orleans, so that's why he's not here with us today. But he did leave a comment on the Facebook, which I'll get to. But Ryan, you wanted to chime in.
Well, I was actually gonna read some of the comments from the fam. If you wanted.
Go ahead.
So over on Facebook, so Steve Posnellis to answer the poll question said absolutely. Mike Mataraki said only if Geis or whomever is the best player available.
Fair.
Jimmy Burrell said no thanks. Don't need a running back in the first. Never have. Let's see. Michael Berry chimes in saying Yankees are down 3-1 versus the Red Sox, giving an update for that game.
Okay.
Dion,
that is baseball, right?
That I believe so, Charles.
Okay.
I think that is baseball.
All right. I need to clarify every once in a while.
Dion chimes in. What's going on, Dion?
Dion.
He says, "What's going on, fellas? Top of the evening to you. Let's go."
Hey.
So he's very excited at the
Yes.
moment. Clay Ferguson says, yes, Sony Michel would be a great fit. Then we get to Chrome's comment saying, gentlemen, it's been one hell of a day trying to get home from New Orleans. I'm in Orlando after having my flight canceled and not being able to be put on another flight for 7 hours.
Ew.
But I'm finally heading home after an insane trip and day. Only take the running back if it's Geis. Have a great show, guys. I know you will. I'll catch the hashtag fam next week on Birds of a Feather, and this Thursday for Lazy Booking. Boarding now. Smell you later.
Later, Chrome.
Later, Chrome. See you Thursday. Dion chimes back in saying, meh, I'd be okay with a running back if they stay at 32, which I don't think they are.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah.
I agree with Dion. He says, if so, Geis would be a fit. Frank Vespi said he's very unsure at the moment, but I think they might trade out of 32, so he
Yeah.
agrees with Dion.
Mhm.
Tom Arnone chimes in saying, "What's up? What's up,
Tommy.
fam? World
Tom.
effing champions." He
Yes.
says, "If that's best available, of course, with a roster like this, it's best available, and then go to bed afterwards."
See,
Yep.
that's what I was kind of getting at earlier. Like, I
Yeah.
can't anything they draft, I can't really be that
You
upset
can't.
with
You really
because their
can't.
roster is pretty set. They have depth at a lot of positions, and you can't really be upset in any direction they go.
You can't.
Especially if they identify a player that they think really fits their scheme, really fits their culture, and as we've talked about, is the best one of, if not the best player available to them, what they view as the best player available, considering all that criteria. Then I think it's hard to be upset with almost anything they would pick.
Yeah, because they've done a masterful job of not only setting themselves up with their starters and the main core of their roster, even before the season ended. With extending contracts of Jernigan and Alshon, they set Howie set the roster up well. But then also this offseason and free agency, we plugged in holes. Mike Wallace, getting Nada to replace Bo Allen, obviously trading for Bennett. We've and even the linebacker spot.
So I was
we've
going to say
already
signing two veteran linebackers,
yeah.
and they're nothing special, but they're two guys who have played in the NFL.
Exactly.
One guy started a lot of games in the NFL.
So it's not. This is how you want to be. This is such a type of situation you want to be going into draft day. You want to not have any glaring holes where you're just like your team is kind of tempting drafting for need, because that's not what you want to do. We Andy Reid did that before, and it didn't work out well, where they were constantly drafting for need, and it didn't work out.
What I would have said was their two biggest areas of need going into the draft, as I talked about before when I did my other mocks. Defensive tackle I thought was a big one. They went out and signed Nada.
Yeah.
Linebacker was another one. They re-signed Bradham. They go out and they sign Nelson, and they sign Warlow. So all of a sudden it's like, well, okay. I mean, we still had some questions about corner, but we had a lot of good young talent. But now there's even more good young talent because they have Darryl Worley in the mix. They've done, like you said, Charles. Howie Roseman has just done a masterful job of making sure that this team has depth.
Yeah.
Through free agency, through the draft, through everything, this team has depth.
Yeah.
So two more. So James Sholoff chimes in saying, "I think they trade down. We need a second or a third." And Gina Rambo chimes in saying, "Hey
Gina!
guys, what's going on, Gina?" So at the moment, so I'll switch over to YouTube because we have some of our guys already
Gotcha.
chiming in over on YouTube. Actually, a lot. So I'll pick my way through this. So Roberto Garcia chimes in really early, just letting us know that he was the first comment. He said first. So congratulations
Yay.
to Roberto Garcia. David Rosca chimes in saying, you're going to love this one. The Browns need to get Manziel and Tebow. Well, David, I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, I'll say that you predicted it, all right?
Oh, my God.
I think he's
Tim
kidding.
Tebow's playing baseball.
I think Roscoe's kidding, but
You never know. You never know.
you do never know.
Yeah. Foolish Demon says, I'd say yes, but I really like Geis. He also says, Ronald Jones is a beast, too. His speed is top-notch. You really can't go wrong with who Paulie just mentioned from earlier. He also says, nobody seems to agree with me that we need a home run hitter in the backfield.
I agree.
No,
I definitely agree with that.
yeah.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all.
He says, if you need a running back, then you get a running back no matter what round, in my opinion.
Amen.
Well, I think that goes back to, when we talk about best player available. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
If there's a way to improve your team, like this is not draft stuff, but for example, when they signed Michael Bennett, or they traded and they got Michael Bennett, people were going around saying, oh, we don't need him, but we were all sitting back saying, okay, well, does he improve your roster? Of course.
Of course.
So any opportunity, whether it's the first round, whether it's the seventh round, if you have an opportunity to, this guy is going to be an impact player, or at least an improvement, an upgrade for your team, I really don't think you overthink. I think you absolutely
You
do
don't.
it. So
You
I
can't.
completely agree
agree.
with Foolish Demon.
You can't overthink it.
Let's see. SJM 86. What's going on, man? He says, "What's up, fellas?
What up, SJM?
Eagles needs are, in my opinion, secondary. A young offensive lineman,
Safety is a sneaky need.
a young offensive
it
line
is.
backer, tight end, and you can always use a wide receiver and running back depth. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're gonna say need, and not even like saying like, hey, they need to draft these positions. If we're putting in like hierarchy of like maybe a player where they could use like a position where they could infuse some young talent, I would say safety and offensive tackle will be my two biggest.
Yeah, they need
They need an offensive. It's an offensive tackle because you just don't know how long Jason Peters is gonna play.
and Big V.
Vaitai was very good, and I am the first person to admit that I did not expect him to be as good as he was, but I still don't know that he is a 16-game starter or 19-game starter
I'm
at left
with you
tackle.
there.
I don't know that he is that yet.
Yeah.
And so that I think that's still a position that if Connor Williams from Texas falls to 32, I can't get that card to the podium.
Yeah, he's another one I would.
So I mean,
bet him
or
for.
again, we talked about Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn would be a great fit too. You know what I mean? I mean, these are guys. If they're there at 32, I have no problem with that
Yeah.
pick. If we're talking about safeties, Justin Reed from Stanford, I love that kid. I think he's going to be a stud. He could play right now as the team's third safety. He replaces Corey Graham, takes over that third safety role.
Yeah.
He's got speed. He's got versatility. He can cover like a corner. They have so many options at 32. And then if we're talking receivers, you have Cortland Sutton, who I am totally
You're in love with Cortland
enamored with Cortland Sutton. I love him to death. People compare him to Alshon, and I love Alshon, but I think that he actually has more potential than Alshon does.
He does.
Because I think he's a quicker and a faster player. And I think he's got the potential to become a better route runner than Alshon is.
Yeah.
And that's what I would like to see. And then also DJ Moore is a guy I know we've talked about from Maryland.
His stock has been skyrocketing.
I'm a
He's
big fan of his.
Yeah, I'm high on Dante Pettis. I've told you. I think he is he could be the second best route runner in the class behind Calvin Ridley. He's just so smart with his route running. So that's another person. But the thing is, at 32, that'd be more of a reach. I think because of his stock, I think he's more of a maybe day 3, and if he falls to day 4, that is an absolute steal. I think even I think in round 3 he's even a steal. But if because of his injuries, he could fall to day 4.
See, I
round
think
4.
he goes to round 3 because I don't think people just because of his return ability too.
Yeah.
He's such a dangerous
Oh,
returner
he's so good.
that I think that coupled with the fact that he can be a capable receiver,
Yes.
I think that gives him a lot of value.
Yeah, and I think that. Oh, Brian, I know you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, no, if you had a point, I just had 2 really good comments.
Yeah,
One from
go ahead,
Dion,
read
one
it.
from
Yeah, go
Gina.
ahead.
Gina brings the fire in this one, which Gina always does, which we love her. I'll start with Dion. He says, this draft is seemingly quarterback, tight end, and running back healthy. Trade ours and gather more picks we've lost and get at least 2 to 3 draft picks that can contribute right now, as did Clement and Douglas.
I don't disagree.
So I don't hate that idea. Here's what I'll say though, when we're talking about it being with quarterbacks, I strongly believe there will be 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I think it's going to happen.
Well, Charles,
Mason Rudolph.
And I don't like Mason Rudolph, but I think Mason Rudolph is going to get picked in the first
He
round.
very well could be.
Because I think teams are going to get a case of the gimmies, man. All the
heard,
quarterbacks
yeah.
are going to go, and someone's going to reach and take Rudolph in the first round. But what that does, if you are the Eagles, that pushes
The
6
talent.
players
Yeah.
at other positions down the board. So do you really want to? And I don't disagree with people suggesting a trade down from 32. I think that makes sense. But my point is, if there are 6 players, good players that have all been pushed down the board, do you really want to trade out of that spot now?
Yeah. I mean, it also depends on what spot they're trading down to. Like, if it's only like
Right.
4 spots,
Sure.
yeah, then obviously take it. But I totally agree. If talent gets pushed down there, you take the talent.
If
like-
Rashawn Evans is sitting there at 32 or Leighton Vander Esch because they fell,
yeah.
I'm taking one of those guys.
last week, Charles,
We
me,
talked
and
about
Chrome,
it,
we
yeah.
had the same discussion. We were talking about, oh my God, how many freaking quarterbacks are we going to be taking? Not only in the first round, but in the top 10.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Maybe we'll touch on that later. But that's true, obviously.
Yeah.
And
And
it's,
I
it's so
was-
crazy.
I was in shock because remember I had said you asked me about Mason Rudolph and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's not going to sniff the first round. His talent is he's not
I agree.
on the same league. And then the next day or two, I see the report that Mason Rudolph could be getting picked late
Patriots.
first. I'm like,
the Patriots. I'm like, what are
what?
you doing? You traded Jimmy Garoppolo, the most awesome, handsome quarterback in the world, for a second-round pick.
Well, when I knew it was going to get out of hands this year with quarterbacks? It was actually, I think it was like 5 days ago, and I saw a report that Lamar Jackson could go all the way up until like the 10th pick Like, he
I
could be
told
taking
you.
it 10.
I
And you
told
did.
you, yeah.
You did.
Lamar Jackson's not as bad as some people are making him out to be.
He is
Man.
not as bad. I know
not only
there are
that-
people that hate him, like Mr. Brian Wilson.
Well, he chimes in, too.
He-
yeah.
He's
Lamar
so
Jackson is not.
If you take him just off his explosiveness alone, even from the quarterback position, he's worthy of a first-round pick. He is as electric as Michael Vick was at his peak, and he's already
Yes.
a better thrower than Michael Vick was
Yes.
at this point in his
in the
career.
middle of the field, when he's throwing to intermediate routes in the middle of the field, he is accurate. And if you saw, did you see his pro day? Someone is coaching
Yeah, he was
him.
very good.
Someone is coaching him to widen his stance.
Yeah.
Because he was very narrow in his stance, but you saw his base was a lot wider, and he got more zip and more accurate on the ball. Now he still needs to work on his throws outside the numbers. His accuracy there is still questionable, but he's like, I could even argue, and I'm gonna get heat for this. I could even argue because I have him ranked higher than Josh Allen. I personally do.
I can't
I
go
would
there.
I would rather take Lamar Jackson than Josh Allen. Josh Allen to me has a lot of question marks above the neck that I'm really
No, I don't disagree with
really
that.
concerned about. And am I saying Josh Allen's definitely going to be a bust? No, but I'm just saying that Josh Allen, in terms of if I'm grading, like I said last week, if I'm grading these quarterbacks, there's more red flags that I see about Josh Allen than I do than Lamar Jackson.
Here's what I would say, though, too. So look at what the Eagles did with Nick Foles. They said, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to run these read options where it's quick decisions and you get the ball out of your hands. You don't think an NFL team could copycat that with Lamar Jackson, and then there's an additional option where he can keep it and take it to the outside and run. He can take any run to the house on
Yes.
any given play. He is such a special athlete in
Yeah.
general. So, I mean, I just think there is an offensive coordinator who sees him and who says, I can make this work with this guy.
Exactly.
Because
Remember-
he's got the arm
Yeah.
and he's got the ability. I can make it work with him.
Yeah, all it takes is one team to fall in
Yep.
love with him and be like, I can do so much. And
Yeah.
that's it.
A good coach can make it work with him.
So, speaking of Brian Wilson, he chimed in earlier. What's going on, Wills? He said there will be, and I agree with him, 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 6. I could argue that it's going to be.
I think,
4.
yeah.
It's
I
going to be 3 in the
agree.
first
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
and then 4 in the top 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else? Oh, so I'll get to Gina's comment. So, random thought, but Gina chimed in. She said, some knucklehead on the radio in Lancaster County said the Eagles should trade Carson for many number 1 picks.
No.
Stupid.
And
Get
then
No.
outta
she
here.
She takes a quote and remind me of the old Stephen A. Smith quote. Well, it was actually a good Stephen A. Smith quote. He said the dude was on crack. So
Yeah.
you know exactly what quote I'm referencing with
Oh,
Stephen
man.
My God.
Yeah, but here's a fun thing. Let's all do this right now because I know. We all have our answers in our head. Top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. Charles, go.
Top what?
Top 5 quarterbacks in this draft.
Oh my
You want me
God.
to rank them?
Yep.
Just like I did last week? I gave my rankings last week.
Oh, I'm
Wait,
sorry.
wait,
I
so
wasn't here for
as
this.
we're-
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say as far as where we think they'll be taken or as far as skill.
Like how we rank.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, no. Okay. How about where you rank them first? Let's go with that first.
Oh, hell.
Okay.
Charles,
All right. So
start with you.
As I said last week, this is how my final QB rankings for the top 5 go. For me. It goes Josh Rosen, and then Baker Mayfield not far behind.
Okay.
And then it goes. I flip flop 3 and 4, but in the end I had to go Sam Darnold, just by a hair, and then Lamar Jackson, and then Josh Allen. That is how I rank them.
Ick. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. So I have been saying this, shouting it from rooftops since during even the season when there was an argument between Rosen and Darnold. Josh Rosen is the best quarterback in this draft, and I don't even think it's really that particularly close. If you're looking at just on the field with the ability to process, with the ability to make any throw,
He's great.
his footwork, he's the best quarterback in this draft. 2, I'm not far off from saying I'm not far off from putting Baker ahead of Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm gonna say Sam Darnold too, but man, Baker's right there.
Yeah.
The only thing that I do worry a little bit about his size. I think it's a fair argument in the NFL
It's fair.
when it's not Oklahoma and it's not a spread offense and he can't see
he doesn't-
everything and it's just going to be a different game.
And he doesn't have the speed of a Russell Wilson
No.
or thing. He doesn't have that type of speed. So
No.
it's not like he can run around and scramble to get out of the pocket and make a play like that.
No, but I think he's smart. I think he knows, again, processing information, getting through his progressions, getting through his reads. I think he's very good. I think he's accurate, and I think he's got more arm than people are giving him credit for.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's easily number 3. Like I said, him and Darnold, I could flip on that easily. I'm going to say Josh Allen number 4.
Okay.
Just because of the physical tools. I definitely hear your concerns. I 100% hear your concerns because there is some. My biggest worry about him and what I've seen is that he does not anticipate well at all. And it's because he relies on that big arm. He thinks he can make every throw, and he doesn't have to anticipate. He waits for it to be open, and then he throws it because he thinks he has such a big arm he can get away with that.
Yeah.
At the next level, you have a great arm, but you can't get away with that.
You can't.
Jay Cutler couldn't get away with that. He had a great arm too, and that's what he thought, and it doesn't work that way. But then I go Lamar at 4, or Lamar at 5 then at that point. And I think they're all pretty damn close. Other than I would say Rosen is head and shoulders above everybody, but after that, it's pretty damn close.
It's for these 5, and I've been saying it for weeks. It's tough. You can make an argument for any of them, and it's really what it comes down to is what you're looking for. People evaluate, and with any other position, the way they evaluate certain traits is different. I'm going to certain people will look at arm strength and have that as more of a higher and more valuable trait than maybe me, where I like arm strength, but it's not as valuable to me as some other evaluators will put it. So it's really how you're looking at it, and I think that with these, when it comes down to these 5, and I said it last week, I don't think there's a clear-cut runaway prospect who is as I don't have Josh Rosen is my number 1. If I were to put a grade on him, I don't think he gets a grade similar as some of the other quarterbacks that have gone early in recent years. Nowhere near an Andrew Luck to me. I think that I even as questionable as I was about Carson Wentz, I wouldn't put his grade as close to Carson Wentz. That's
Jared
just
Goff.
Me. Jared Goff. So
I'd put him close to Jared. I'm saying I would put him
you
close
would
to
put him
Jared
close to Jared Goff. So I think that for me, there's no prospect like that where they're it is a safe pick where you're surefire number 1. But I think they are all, and I told you this last week, Ryan. They're all in the same area of they can be really, really good.
I agree with you. For me, it's tough, and that's why I had to think about it for a second because, I can't say I hate all of these quarterbacks, but I don't love any of them. To be completely honest with you, because for example, Charles, you talk about arm strength, the intangibles. Obviously, I value situations that they're going into more than anything because
definitely
the location they go into will dictate their career, or at least their short-term career, obviously. To where, for example, I like the mind and the projection of Rosen a lot. But I've said this numerous times, I worry about the injuries. I really, truly do. Because if he's already getting injured at a consistent basis in college, what's going to happen if he goes to the NFL where it's faster and he's going to need a perfect or a very good offensive line with weapons to keep him safe?
And he's not mobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. So
he's functionally mobile.
But he's not I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's not like a
it's
Lamar
fair.
Jackson,
It's
even a Josh Allen.
It's a fair knock.
Yeah.
I can't put Allen or Lamar number 1 because I can't put a quarterback number 1 that needs to take a year on the bench. I cannot do it. If anyone, for example, if I put Josh Allen 1, that means all of the other ones stink. Because at least I can say Rosen can step in day 1 and play. I can say Darnold could step in day 1 and play. I could probably say the same thing for Baker. And I really think Baker has the highest ceiling in this league, but depending on where he goes. To where if he goes to a Buffalo, I think he struggles, given the size and obviously the climate up there. It's going to be a little bit different.
See, Josh Allen would be there perfect. To me, Josh Allen would be there perfect.
And I think that's where he'll end up going.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you.
Perfect there.
But for example, if Baker ends up in an Arizona or a Miami, I think he has a much better career, given, obviously the circumstances, the climate, the situations there. So when you have 3 quarterbacks, Rosen, Darnold, and Baker, all 3 I feel that can step in day 1 and be an impact or at least be a guy that can play, I feel like their value is ahead of Allen. And I think Allen is in the same boat, not skill level, but situation as Patrick Mahomes, to where he sat on the bench. Everyone's very excited to see him, but he wasn't ready. There was no chance he was going to be anything year 1.
That's a really good comparison, actually, because that was with Mahomes. When I first heard, I remember there was a lot that came out later of him being oh yeah, he's gonna be a first round pick. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Let me go back and watch this guy because I watched some of them and I'm like, there's no way. But when you really watch Mahomes, you're like, okay, holy shit, this guy's arm is unbelievable, and his release points and his mobility, and it was like, holy shit, this guy can really play.
Mhm.
But he was a mess. I mean, his mechanics were a
He
mess.
didn't know anything. Like,
Yeah, his
there's-
offense was a joke at Texas Tech. I mean, it's not. So I mean, there was a lot of work to be done. But like you said, it's similar to what Josh Rosen is, like a ball of clay. He's got all of this great stuff. He's a really good athlete. He's got a huge arm. But I worry, like you said, he
Josh
probably
Allen,
needs a
you mean.
year because
you
he
said
needs.
you said Josh Rosen.
I'm sorry, Josh Allen. Yes, I
Yeah.
totally meant Josh
So,
Allen.
with all that being said, and I've said for months, I'm not a big fan of the guy, as far as a player, but given the circumstances I just laid out, I would have Sam Darnold 1. Not because I think he's the best quarterback, not because I think he's going to have a better career, but he can go in, whether it's the Browns, the Buffalo Bills, the Cardinals, wherever, and he can start day 1. And I feel that he's definitely in the top 3 as far as quarterbacks in this draft.
I see what you're saying.
But situationally, the organization that gets him is not going to be handcuffed by saying, "Oh, we have to wait a year, we have to teach him, we have to coddle him, we have to show him the way." No, Sam Darnold will know the way. He just has to tighten screws up a little bit. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's going to be great by anything, but I think he's going to be fine.
I see what you're saying.
Number
I
2.
think he's going to break Peyton Manning's interceptions for a rookie. And not to say
Wouldn't
he's
be
not
surprised.
Not to say he's
Yeah.
not going to be a very good quarterback, but I can see that coming.
Because look how
How
Peyton
much he
Manning
turned
turned
up.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
it
that's
doesn't mean
exactly.
anything.
So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but I could see him. That's his biggest thing to me is turnovers and just his
Turnovers.
flawed mechanics, which sometimes result in turnovers.
Yeah.
So
Number 2, I have Baker Mayfield. I know this is overplayed all the time, but he's a winner. I mean, he went the furthest that out of any of these guys
Yeah.
in college football.
Yeah.
He has big game experience, and I think he did very well in that spotlight. So I have him going number 2. Number 3, as far as quarterbacks, I have Rosen. And again, the only reason why I don't have him 1 or 2, it's because if you're injured, you can't be an impact player. And I really don't think he's going to have a very long career in the NFL, unfortunately.
Okay.
Then I have Allen, then I have Lamar Jackson.
Okay. Cool.
For the comments, let me see.
Yeah. I was gonna go to YouTube.
Oh,
we got
yeah.
some- Yeah, YouTube. I know. Foolish Demon does say that someone tried to argue they like Rashad Penny more than Geis because the SEC was trash this year, as the Mountain West is pushing out top level draft picks every year.
boy,
I've heard so much talk about Penny. I don't. Let me get your opinion because
I really like
I've-
Rashad
I-
Penny, but I can't say that.
after watching almost everything that I could of him, I don't see it. Like to me, I give him a 3rd round grade. That's how I
Yeah.
graded him out.
I think it's
I
fair.
gave him a 3rd round grade.
I think it's very
and-
fair.
Good, but you have people saying that he should be a 2nd round pick. He's a top 5 running back. I don't like all that
No.
talk. I don't see it.
No,
I don't see that. I don't see. First of all, he's not a good pass blocker. Second of all, he's not a good. He's not. He hasn't shown to be a capable receiver out of the backfield. Now, what does he have? He has really good vision, really good feel for the hole. He manipulates the second level very well, and he does have speed. So those are really good things, and plus he can return kicks.
See,
But-
and he actually, what's funny too, Charles? He returned. I looked up his stats. This is like recently. He returned 2 punts, and they were both for like ridiculous yardage.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, I think for me, if I'm so let's say I'm looking at Rashard Penny for the Eagles, right? I'm saying I like him as a compliment. I'm not looking at him as a lead back right away. I'm looking at him as a compliment to Jay Ajayi and a guy that can return kicks and punts. That's what I look. That's what I look at him as far as his value.
Okay.
But I agree. I think you nailed it on the head with everything Penny does well. He's got like the vision is what stands out, and then once he gets to the second level, he can run past DBs. That's huge.
Yeah.
So I think to even compare him to Geis is absurd.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think that could Rashad Penny possibly wind up if he falls into the right situation and gets into the right team and gets to the right coaching, could he be a lead back for a team? Sure. I don't see why not.
Yeah, and I think that, Foolish Demon also or SJM86 says Penny is probably better than Pumphrey. However,
Well,
probably
sure.
better. As a prospect, he definitely is better than Pumphrey. However, I'll wait on Geis / Freeman. Royce Freeman. I gave him around a 3rd, 4th round grade.
Right, Royce Freeman would be around a 3rd round for me too.
And then he says, either way, thank God it's Tuesday and not Monday.
So Brian Wilson chimes in talking about Baker Mayfield. I think he was responding to the one comment I made. He said, I love Baker, but what has Baker won? He blew a massive lead in the college football playoff, which, I mean, yes, my whole point on Baker was that he was in big game situations. He actually got a taste of that. You know what I mean? You know, obviously he did not win the thing, and I never said he did. But I understand with what Wilson's saying. You know what I mean? It just comes down to, you know, he was there. He got a taste of that, and I think that's huge for him. I think he is a big game player. I really, truly do.
What I would say, too, is a lot of people look to his off-the-field stuff and everything he dealt with there. And, like, you know, the grabbing the crotch of the Kansas guys, which I kind of love that kind of stuff.
Weren't the Kansas guys doing the same thing? But
well, no, it was like a whole thing. Yeah, like they started it because they wouldn't shake his hand at the captain's thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, my thing is this. If you can be the quarterback at Oklahoma, deal with all that scrutiny day in and day out, who is more prepared to face media at the NFL level and to face that pressure at the NFL level than Baker Mayfield? Because he did it. He faced all that pressure. He looked in the face, and he played well, and he won games. So, I mean, if there's a guy who can handle it, I think it's Baker Mayfield.
He also gave his top 5 to answer your question. He said Darnold, Allen, Rosen, Mayfield, Rudolph. So Lamar Jackson, not even making the cut. He is not a fan.
He
hates
really hates Lamar Jackson, and it's gone beyond point of reasoning, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah,
That's
that,
between you and Wilson.
Yeah, I'm not going there either
no,
then, because Mason Rudolph. Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dion says, I still go back to Darnold is a USC quarterback. I do not trust them at the next level. But that's
Carson
just
Palmer.
me. Browns.
No, Carson Palmer's pretty good.
I mean, is that the best example?
I mean, he is, but he was pretty damn good.
We want to go down the list. Pretty soon we're going to get to Matt Leinart.
Well, I know.
All right.
There are a lot of bad ones. Yeah, absolutely.
Want to name the certain one that played here?
Matt Barkley, man.
Yeah,
I know.
certain
I
third
know all
stringer.
about it.
Was the starting quarterback
Mark
in Chicago.
Sanchez.
Matt Barkley.
Sanchez.
Yeah, man.
Um,
I know. I
Just a
know.
thought.
I'm not denying. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that it's not a total. You know.
What I will
But
say,
that's also like holding. That's also like holding Saquon Barkley responsible for all the Penn State
That's
running
it,
backs
yeah.
sucking.
I was gonna say that, like, to his defense, I mean, the whole history of
Sorry,
prospects.
Ben Simmons just did this thing again where he threw it off somebody's back in bounds and it
Oh.
went up.
Wonder what teams
What's
learn.
the score, by the way? I'm
They're
blind
up, I
over here.
think.
Oh, no,
I
they're
think-
up, but not by much. It's
Not- yeah.
way too close for comfort. It's
Um,
57-53,
on.
and Simmons just missed a free throw.
What I was gonna say is that
Could be
I think
expected.
the history of bad prospects transitioning to the NFL in schools like, you know, USC quarterback or Penn State running back,
Mhm.
I get it, but at the same time, you can't that will never. You can't say that is going to be 100% guaranteed for every single prospect. Like, just because Penn State has had a history of bad running backs coming to the NFL, does that mean Saquon Barkley is automatically going to be bad? No, it doesn't have an influence on how these kids, each specific kid, is going to play out. Now, there might be other factors. Maybe as a quarterback in USC, there's a history of the way they're taught, and you will know more than I do because I don't follow college, but maybe there's something there where the way the USC system makes it tough for their quarterbacks to transition, and then they're put to a bad spot because they're drafted high. I don't know, but you can't just definitively say, "Oh, USC quarterback." No, I'm not taking them. You have to look at their talent and you look at the situation that they're going into and see if they are different to make them the exception to the rule.
So another prime example would be USC skill players, because everyone said that. Oh, when Aguilar wasn't playing those first years, well, that's what you can't draft USC skill position players. Year 3, here we go. Also this year, Juju Smith-Schuster. Part of the reason he fell in the draft is because he's a U.S. I'm not kidding. That's why he fell, because he's a USC wide receiver. And the Steelers got an absolute steal with him in what? That was that second or third round? They got a steal. He's a great player.
Yeah.
So Brian Wilson chimes in with, he says, and this is a perfect transition into a question I was going to ask you guys. He says the Browns are going to take Josh Allen, and you think the Giants are going to draft Darnold.
Yeah.
Dion says, I'd like to see Allen go to Denver so he can sit and not have to play right away, being as though they have Keenum for 2 years. Well, to Dion, I don't even think he would need to go to Denver. I think there's a certain team that's up north that he can go to, which would be the perfect situation for him. But with that being said, where do you, at the moment, if the draft happened right now, how do you think the first 5 picks play out?
Oh my God.
We already answered this last week, so we're asking you.
Oh my God. It's so like. I guess I'm gonna say I just see so much buzz right now around Josh Allen going to the Browns at 1.
Yeah, I see
Which
the buzz too.
I think is stupid, but it's Browns, so here we are.
It's a shame.
Yeah, and I think the Giants would take Darnold at 2. I can't disagree with that. And then I think if Josh Rosen's there at 3, the Jets would take him.
Yeah.
I absolutely think the Jets would take him at 3.
Now, given what, all right, and then 4 and 5.
So 4 would be the Browns again. So they're going to take Saquon probably, I would think, or Bradley Chubb,
Or
one
Chubb.
or the other.
Saquon or Chubb would be at 4. Yeah.
And then 5 would be Denver as of right now.
I'd say Baker.
God, so maybe Denver takes Baker. I could see I could see that again because I could see John Elway saying like, you know what, I was kind of a dick when I came out of college too. So like maybe John Elway kind of takes Baker Mayfield under his wing and makes him into something. Maybe they trade out to Buffalo. Buffalo trades up to get the 5th pick. And again, I worry about Baker in Buffalo as well. I don't think that would be a perfect fit for him.
Yeah.
I'll give you the reports about Josh Allen to Cleveland completely throws like the thing that I was talking about last week.
Yeah.
It throws it completely upside down.
Exactly. That's
So
exactly what I said. Yeah.
If I'll give you, Paulie, since you weren't here last week, I'll give you my top 5 from last week. And this was before all of the Josh Allen reports.
Yeah.
It's Cleveland gets Sam Darnold. The Giants trade back, or I should say the Buffalo Bills trade up
Sure.
to get Josh Allen.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
3, the Jets get Baker Mayfield. 4, the Browns get Saquon Barkley. And 5,
Broncos get Rose.
that's correct. Now, if Josh Allen has taken 1, oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
See, this could get interesting because then the Giants could – because I honestly don't think the Giants are going to stay there. I really, truly don't.
If I were them, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. I would.
If you don't want a quarterback, I wouldn't draft at number 2.
Yeah.
Personally, if I'm the Giants.
Yeah.
See, I
agree.
personally think because now we're starting to hear rumblings
Mhm.
that, the Giants might be interested in a quarterback. And you know what that coincides with? The reports that the Browns might be passing on Darnold. So I would imagine the Giants did not have have a quarterback in mind because the guy they wanted, they were thinking,
He's gone.
There's no way Darnold will be here. There's no way. So the one thing that I think will keep the Giants at 2 is Sam Darnold.
It's an interesting theory.
That's a
I don't
good
disagree.
theory.
I think it's a
that's
solid
good
theory.
So to me, if Darnold is there at 2, I think there's only 2 teams that can get him. I think it's the Giants that stay there or the Broncos trade up. Yes, I know people that are watching, they have Case Keenum. They do not need to go after Sam Darnold.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yes, they do. Because if you think Elway isn't going to go out and try and get Sam Darnold now that he's available, I personally think that the Broncos would try to get up to 1. I really, truly do.
But here's the thing. So let's say if your scenario is what you think is going to play out, and if you're John Elway, don't you think that you'll be just fine sitting at 5 and not giving anything up and then taking Josh Rosen to learn behind Case Keenum?
Fair. Yeah. I mean, that's true, but also
get him in an NFL weight room, get him a little more girth, maybe withstand injury and hits a little bit more.
Punishment, yeah.
It all comes down to one thing, and that is how much more do they like Darnold as opposed to Allen.
You're absolutely
if
right.
they feel, and this is going to decide it, if they feel that Darnold can be an impact player because given they have the players to win now. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
You know, if they feel that Darnold is leaps and bounds above Allen or Baker or any of these other quarterbacks, and they have the opportunity to move up and get him finally, I think they do it. And then what? Worst comes to worst, they have a quarterback competition with Case Keenum and Darnold. And what if he loses it? Okay, fans, he lost it to
Matt
Case
Flynn
Keenum
versus Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what was the contract that they signed Case Keenum on? Was that by any means something that would handcuff them, or was it a low
Just for
end
the
start?
year. Just for the year, not for very long.
Yes. So I mean, honestly, I feel that Elway, given someone that has completely whiffed on getting quarterbacks the last few years, I mean, let's call it the way it is.
He'll want to I hear that.
If they really love Darnold, I mean, this goes back to what we were talking about the Eagles doing years ago when they went up to get Carson Wentz. If you have a guy and you feel that he is your guy,
You got to go get him.
you go up and get him.
I agree.
I want to. Let me see. Wilson did make a comment here that I want to follow up on. He does say Saquon doesn't go top 6. Based on what I've been hearing, I actually agree with him.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, again, I'm going to restate for the millionth time, he's the number 1 prospect on my board. But
Unequivocally.
because of the QB demand and everything, I really do think he falls past 6. I think he either goes to the Bucs at 7 or he even drops farther. I still think he's going to go top 10. But I
There's
wouldn't
no
put
way
it,
he falls out of top 10.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Niners at 9. And
Oh my God.
you will can we just say no?
I
if
would
he
be
goes to the
so
Niners at 9,
happy.
if he goes to the Niners at 9, can you imagine? Like, you guys know that I do like the Niners. Oh my gosh, that would
Jimmy G and
because
Saquon.
at 8, the Bears aren't going to take him. They have Jordan Howard and they have Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
So it's either the Bucs at 7 or the Niners at 9. And if you are Kyle Shanahan, I know you let Hyde go. Your starting running back right now is Jerick McKinnon, who is a talented, dynamic running back. But is he a 20 carry
no.
running back? No. You give that backfield the tandem of Barkley and McKinnon, and the defenses will go nuts. That and then you have Jimmy G.Q. throwing the. Oh my gosh! I am hoping.
Here's what I would want.
I'm
if that
hoping
I would
he
want one
falls.
of those half jerseys where it could be like half Saquon and half Garoppolo.
Oh, I thought you were going to say half jerseys, like half Eagles, half 49ers.
Oh no.
I was going to be like, Paulie,
No.
Let me tell you right now, Charles. Let me tell you right now. If that happens, if I was a Cardinals fan, I would start bawling my
Crying,
eyes
right?
out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we're fine. We're the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, wait. Seattle has Russell Wilson. And Pete Carroll, by the way.
Sure.
Oh, the Rams. Oh, good God, they don't suck anymore. They have Jared Goff and friggin' Sean McVay and the super team behind them.
Yeah,
and,
super defense.
oh, my God. And, by the way, Brandon Cooks, have them now. By the way, 49ers. Oh, Jimmy GQ and Kyle Shanahan and, oh, God, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
And that,
Cardinals.
but we'll be fine. You know who?
Sam.
Oh, good God. We have Sam Bradford. Oh, and Mike Glennon.
Oh my God.
God.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they'll be even better because they released their best defensive player, so they'll be
Tyron
fine.
Matthew.
But it'll be fine. We have a good coach, right? Oh, wait. Bruce Arians retired last year. Whoops.
Cardinals fans.
He
said,
man, dude, is there other than like the Browns, the Cardinals are in really one of
they're
the
in bad shape.
worst situations to be in the
They
NFL.
have players, too. I mean, they have
I
David
know.
Johnson. They
David
have
Johnson.
Larry. I mean, they have guys.
Oh, David Johnson. You know what? It's funny. We were just talking about this at work today, and like I was talking about how depressing it is when players, like great players, just get their primes just wasted.
Yeah, I know.
And the biggest example is obviously Joe Thomas, who might be. He's arguably the greatest left tackle to ever play football.
And he was on the Browns.
And he was on the friggin' Browns for his entire career. Like, that poor bastard. Like,
do we have to mention?
Jesus.
Do we have to go farther back and mention Barry Sanders? He's spent
Yeah.
10 seasons,
That's what I'm saying. All these
arguably
guys.
the greatest running back in history.
And I
he's
just got a
wasted
bad
away.
feeling that's David Johnson.
David Johnson. Yeah.
That's going to be David Johnson, and
Yeah.
I don't want that for him.
yeah.
I don't want that for him.
I know. Me
I
neither.
want it to be better.
Brian Wilson does say he's a running back. It's just fact that he doesn't go top 5. He might go 8 or 9. Well,
I don't even think
I
it's
get
that.
your point. I don't think it's that because
Zeke
and
Elliott.
Todd Gurley went 4.
Well, Todd Gurley went 10, but that was only
10,
because
but
he tore
yeah.
his ACL.
Yeah.
If he had not torn his
Zeke went
ACL,
4.
he probably would have been a top
Yeah,
5 pick
Zeke
too,
went
Todd
4.
Gurley.
Where are the Colts currently sitting?
They are at
7?
6.
6?
But the thing is, if
Quentin Nelson or
they're gonna
Chubb.
get Nelson or Chubb, either one of
If
them.
one of those guys
They
are
need
there,
line
it makes
help.
a lot of sense, yeah.
And then Wilson does also say someone might move up to 8 to get Saquon. That could happen too.
Someone might even
so,
move up
yeah.
into the top 5 to get Saquon. You never
yeah,
know.
You never know.
He's that talented of a
well,
player. Like
yeah.
he's worth trading up for. Let's be real.
Here's a question for you guys. When I was talking about, Buffalo Bills moving up, which teams do you expect to be potential movers, not just for quarterbacks, but just period, moving up into the top 10?
Patriots. Just because they're loaded.
I agree.
Just because they're loaded with picks.
Have you heard the rumor that they have their eyes set on Josh Rosen?
I think they're going to get into business with the Browns.
I heard they
I
want
would
Josh
be
Rosen.
so depressed if Josh Rosen winds up with the
Oh
Patriots.
my god.
My heart would be so sad.
Well, you know what's interesting? Okay, so we hear 2 weeks ago Gronk will be traded.
Sure.
It's been kind of quiet. You know what I mean? Then you see the Brandon Cooks trade.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Patriots move up to 23. Oh, that's interesting. Why did they do that? Just to 23? Are they? So could this be Gronk is traded to the Browns?
Oh God.
See that I threw.
Oh my god.
That's a wild card we haven't heard.
Could
see
see
that
him
be
in
the team?
Cleveland?
I think he would
Dear
retire. What?
God,
So
he
here's
might-
the
yeah,
thing.
he probably
But
would
no,
retire,
would he
yeah.
though? Because you see the cast that they have around him.
That would actually
Like-
be a legitimately
'Cause they have
talented
They have
offense.
Njoku. They have Njoku. They
You have the receiver. I mean,
They
Jarvis,
have Jarvis.
Landry.
They have
Jarvis
Josh
Landry.
Gordon. They have
Carlos Hyde.
Corey Coleman. They'd actually Duke Johnson. They actually have some pretty
They have-
talented players.
yeah.
They have an okay offensive line.
And
Yeah.
say, for example, they go and if it's Darnold or Allen, for example. I mean, there's a young quarterback, and then say, for example, they have Allen, but they keep him out of here. You have, I can't believe I'm saying this, but at least they have Tyrod Taylor.
Tyler Taylor took a team to the playoffs.
He doesn't
took
throw
a team that had
interceptions.
He's
into
a
the
solid
He
playoffs.
doesn't throw
forever.
interceptions.
Ty Tyler is a solid quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's fine.
He's solid.
He's fine.
Let's be real. He probably already has better weapon other than outside of Shady McCoy with the Browns than he did with Buffalo.
So
Yeah.
how outlandish is it? The Browns and the Patriots could go into business with each other because they've done it in years past.
Yeah.
Sure.
Gronk is traded to the Browns in a move, and it's not just 1-for-1, but that could lead
Like
the
pick
Patriots.
23 and Gronk to get to
Oh my
4.
God.
or
Well,
something.
it could probably be because the Patriots have 2 firsts and 2 seconds.
Right.
So it would probably be one of the Patriots' second-round picks, the number 23 pick, Gronkowski
for 4.
for 4.
It's not the craziest thing.
It's not the
I mean, it's crazy, but it's not like it's not. It's,
It's
not
crazy
it's
that
not
it's a
impossible.
discussion, but
It's
the
not- yeah,
deal, the
exactly.
worth, it's kind of like
I could see
eh.
it happening. I could see it happening.
Oh, my God.
Let's see. We got a few minutes left. I got 7 minutes left. There is there are a lot of comments here about what did I say about running backs and how they're not people don't want to take running backs in the first round. There is an article I wanted to bring up that I read. It was about it was by Jeff Fayer of Pro Football Weekly, and he talks about the myth that our running backs are being devalued, and how it's quite the opposite. And it's something that I've been talking about for a while. That we're seeing obviously that it's going by running. The league is starting to be running back by committee, even if it's a duo, right? You have people like you have the team like the Saints. They had Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson, and then they
Falcons.
drafted Kamara. You have the Falcons with Freeman and Coleman. I think there are too many people out there, too many fans out there that automatically say you can't draft a running back in the first round. You have to go later in the rounds. The thing is that I want to say here that is not. That is a myth to me. Like that is a short-sighted belief because the trend is starting to catch up with the league. Now it's not so before it was like a few teams they want to do run back by committee. Now the whole league is saying that. So whereas before you would have good running back talent being pushed to day 2, day 3, and that's why you had so many studs. Nowadays, everyone wants good running backs. They need talent. And it's not so much that the
You need
running
more.
back you need more.
They need
It's
more
not so
talented
much that
backs.
the running back isn't a pivotal part of the offense. It's the fact that they need talent. So now you're expecting every team to want at least 2 good running backs on the roster. Well, you're going to have to now draft them. You're going to have to draft those running backs in the first round, in the second round, in the third, everywhere. You can't just push talent down the board and be like, oh, no, we'll pass on the best player here even though he's a running back and assume you're going to get someone like him later on. That's not automatically going to work. The running back position is still very important, and you need to be able to draft. If someone like Geis is there, or someone that's talented like a Michelle and Ronald Jones is there, that for you to pick, and they're the best player on the board, you have to pick them. You can't shun that position anymore.
And to piggyback off that, I agree with everything you're saying. And then I would also add, I mean, it worked out pretty well for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year,
Yeah.
who had their rookie running back help lead them to the AFC Championship game. Worked out pretty well. I mean, say what you will about the Cowboys. Worked out pretty well for the Cowboys when they took Zeke Elliott, and he led the league in rushing as a rookie. Granted, I will say this: I still will contest to this day that they should have taken Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey.
But
yeah.
that's a whole other thing. But the point is,
it was still a good
it was a
pick.
justified pick
Yeah.
because the guy led the league in rushing as a rookie.
Yeah.
So,
led
I
to the
mean,
playoffs,
it-
Todd Gurley.
And
MVP.
it's Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, let's be real, too. As we've all said, Todd Gurley should have been the damn MVP
That's
of
why I called
the
him MVP,
NFL.
because he's MVP.
Amen.
I agree.
Yeah.
Should have been the MVP of this league.
Yeah.
So, you're like you said, Charles, it is short-sighted, it's closed-minded to not be open to the idea of a running back just because it's a running back. If
Yeah.
if it's the most talented player on the board, you should absolutely be considering him as the pick.
This is, and I kind of agree with Brian Wilson, kind of taking the other side of it. He says the problem with a running back in the top 5 is a running back doesn't change your franchise. They could be awesome, but you necessarily still won't win. Quarterbacks
can't-
change
Well,
franchise.
that's a different thing. That now you're talking about, and he's not wrong. But he's talking about positional value now. Now, when you're talking about in the league, you're talking about drafting for positional value. There are certain positions that have more of an impact. You're talking. There are 5 premium positions that scouts talk about. You're talking about quarterback is one, and then you're talking about pass rusher. You're talking about pass blocker, and then you're talking about pass catcher and a pass defender. So all of them are what? Quarterback, defensive end, offensive line, offensive tackle, cornerback, and a wide receiver. So those are your premium positions because it's a passing league. I don't disagree. So if you're talking about someone, if the grades are on a prospect and you have 2 guys who are kind of around the same tier, but then one is a cornerback and another is a running back, yeah, go ahead, take the corner. Like that's perfectly fine because he'll have more of an impact. But what I'm not that's not the argument I'm making. I'm saying that if you don't have that, like if you're like the Eagles, or if you're a team, just for argument's sake, let's say a team like the Rams, right, where they also plugged in a lot of holes this offseason were needed, and now so they don't have a glaring need just like the Eagles. If you're a team like that and you get to a position where the best player on there is a running back, there's no other premium positions, players at premium positions that have close to a high grade, but then you still want to pass on a running back. That's what I'm saying. Like there are a lot. I've seen a lot of people say I will stay away from running backs no matter what in the first round, and that's a bad mentality to have. And it's the same thing for guard. There's a lot of people that are pushing away Quentin Nelson because he's a guard, because he's not a premium position, and I don't like that because you have to always consider positional value. I get it, but you can't ignore the grade you have on a player.
Here's the other point I would make, and it's impossible to argue that quarterback is not the most valuable position in the NFL. It's impossible to argue that. I would also say it is by far the hardest position to evaluate. So there is a far greater chance you are going to miss on a quarterback as opposed to missing on a running back.
It's very difficult.
Like we just talked about, all these quarterbacks, they have flaws. We see something wrong with all of them. I would say that the 3 of us collectively have almost no doubt that we believe Saquon Barkley will be the best player in this draft. He's the best player. He's going to turn out to be the best NFL player regardless of position in this draft.
Yeah.
So why is it crazy to then say he should be in the top 5?
Yeah.
Like just because he's a running back, you're not, like he's still the most talented player in this draft.
Yeah.
And to your point, at guard, you could definitely make the argument that Quentin Nelson is the second most talented player
He's second
in this
on my
draft.
board, yeah. And to what Brian Wilson's saying, I know we're up against the clock for the first half, but Wilson just saying, I'm just saying pass on running back in top 5. After that, first 10 to 12 picks, I picked strictly the best player on the board. And again, Wilson, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just elaborating more on your point
amazing.
because people do confuse positional
It's
value
amazing.
and drafting a running back high and all of that. So, but it's good points to bring up. So we are coming down to the end of the first half. We will get into. I still want to get into day 2 or 3 picks that me and you are high on prospects.
Yeah, man, we're
that
gonna
we like.
nerd out.
Yeah, we're going
in
to
the
absolutely
second
nerd
half.
out. So we're that'll be our talking point in the second half of the show. So if you are on Facebook, as always, as we've been doing the past couple of weeks here on A2D, jump on YouTube. We're going to transition over there. We dropped the link in the comment section, so click the link. We'll bring you over there. We'll see you on the other side. All right, guys? So thank you again, people on Facebook, for tuning in. Our poll question was presented by Scanzano Sports. We thank Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. We're live from the BMW of Atlantic City studio, guys. BMWAtlanticCity.com. We will see you in a few minutes. Don't go away. We are back. I love that song, by the way.
Never gets old.
Oh, God. Birds of a Feather live on ATV Radio. We're coming at you from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, BMWAtlanticCity.com. The second half is brought to you by StreamSmart.com. Again, the poll question for today, presented by Scanzano Sports. Assuming that Barkley is taken, would drafting a running back with the 32nd pick be a good move for the Eagles? No, yes, or only if it's Geis. So that's what we've been, we led the show off with that. We got into more draft talk. We talked about the quarterbacks again for the second straight week. It's always about the quarterbacks. But we also touched on running backs and some guys. So I want to lead off by talking about
Jesus, now McConnell's down.
oh dear Lord.
Somebody get them out of there.
Get him out of
Jesus.
there! Oh God. You remember in Independence Day when they had they had the aerial attack on the spaceship the first day or the second day, and then the president's like they're all dropping like flies, and the president's like, "Come on, get him out of there!"
Yeah.
That's what I felt like, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I do want to talk about before we move on and talk some Sixers and Flyers. I do want to talk about day 2 and day 3 prospects that both myself and Paulie are high on that have caught our eye. Paulie's got probably more of a range of guys than I do because I've only, in terms of in depth, I've only attacked like the running back and wide receiver position so far. But it'll definitely be a good conversation to have. But I do want to catch up on some YouTube comments because I know
I do just want to share because we
Go ahead.
were obviously talking about this before the show about the whole Donovan Mitchell rocking that hoodie.
What did
Yes.
they do now?
No, this is great. This is great. So dictionary.com,
Oh.
verified blue check, weighed in. Let us know if you need the definition of played next.
Oh.
Dude,
Dictionary.com.
Dictionary.com coming through with Burns.
The real MVP. What can I say?
Verified,
Dictionary.com.
verified blue check. It's their real
Very
account.
good. Very nice.
It's
Yes.
amazing.
Good. I
So
thought you were going to mention the Joel Embiid mask, by the way.
The Joel Embiid
Oh, that's
mask
great,
is-
too.
When we get
is
into
great.
that, I might get my phone and just have it in front of the screen.
Okay.
It's
I might
worth
do
Definitely,
because
yeah.
it's that great. If you haven't seen it, like it's amazing.
it's amazing.
I'm sorry, Charles. I just got
No, it's all good. It's all good. All right, so Brodo, if you want to help me out here, you can go
Sir?
from the bottom. Let's catch up a little bit on most of these YouTube comments. I'm gonna start kind of toward the top. Foolish Demon did leave a comment about Pettis. He says, "I am anti Dante Pettis. He should be undrafted because of that final play in the bowl game." Do you know what he did? I don't know.
I don't remember what he did in the
Yeah.
bowl game either. I'm assuming the game against Penn State.
Here's a question. So first off, Dion chimes in all the way from Facebook, now transitioning to YouTube.
Thank you, Dion.
He says, "Boom! I'm in the building.
Yes.
See you guys when you get back." Well, we're back, Dion. So you're seeing us right now. He says, "I have a few 3rd to 7th rounders.
Oh, hell
I love,
yeah.
Yes, here we go.
Bring it
I
on,
love
Dion.
the Birds to draft." Oh yeah, so that was a teaser. So he'll get into the list in a moment,
Yeah.
I believe. SJM86 asks us a question, saying, "Do you trade the 32nd pick and Foles to Arizona for David Johnson and a conditional pick?" Just putting it out there.
Whoa.
Wait.
Start that
What
over.
conditional pick?
Start
Reset,
this-
reset,
Yeah,
rewind.
let's.
And I quote, "Do you trade the 32nd overall pick and Nick Foles to Arizona for David Johnson and a conditional
I don't even
round
think
pick?"
twice about that
I
pick. The
would do
Cardinals
it.
don't do it. That's too good. No, the Cardinals don't do that.
Yeah, the Cardinals wouldn't do that.
No.
You s-
Would I do it? Woo.
I would do it. I would do it.
I-
Whether,
But
whether or
Nick
not we
Foles-
would do it and if it's going to happen are two
Yes.
Yeah, two
completely
completely
different things.
Hey, Nick Foles, thanks for the Super Bowl. I will gladly give you your ride to the
for the
airport,
second
sir.
best running back in the league.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
Oh
Not
my.
even a thought.
yeah. Did you guys see the trade that GMFB talked about? as
Oh,
an
yeah,
hypothetical?
no way.
No, I didn't.
It
I
was-
saw it. There's
it was
no
a
way.
32nd pick and Nick Foles for the Jets' 3rd overall pick.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Good Morning Football. I was
Yeah.
like, GFMB? What is that?
Yeah, GMFB.
Yeah,
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 Good
yeah.
Morning Football. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was only for discussion purposes. There's no way that would happen. But
No,
that's
impossible.
another one where it's like, sure, I'll take it if by some miracle that actually does get proposed to the Eagles.
That and I know for like you said, it was for discussion purposes they did it, but like I'm glad the one I forget who had said it on the panel, but the one had said, well, it wouldn't make any sense for the Jets.
Yeah,
because
they
they have
just
two,
went out-
two other guys that are
Yeah, they
veterans.
just went out and got 2 veterans
Yeah, exactly. And they're not. They traded up for that pick. They're not trading up just
to trade
Like
it
trading
away
up
for
just to
32.
trade
Yeah.
all the way
Make that
back.
for Nick Foles.
Whoops, never mind. We don't like Baker anymore.
Yeah, right.
Oh God. But yeah.
I've
but-
been reading rumors that the Jets really like Baker a lot, actually.
I think he's going there. I think it's
Maybe
Baker in
interesting.
New York fits. Baker in New York.
And he
weather
can
fits.
handle
Again,
it. He can handle it.
Handle
He
it.
can
Yeah,
handle it. If
exactly.
anyone can, I believe he can.
Yeah. Foolish Demon also says Rudolph will be a first rounder. I had him 15 to Arizona, and I'm sticking with it.
no.
If that happens,
No.
Arizona,
Arizona,
please take
Arizona,
take
no.
the L. Take the L now.
if
if Arizona
Arizona,
happens.
no, I'm sorry. I have to wrap my head around this for a second. If Arizona signed Sam Bradford, Mike Glennon, and then drafts Mason Rudolph at
They deserve
15,
it. They deserve
that'll
L.
officially be the worst quarterback off
Is
season
exactly what I said.
ever.
Yeah.
ever.
Ever.
Like, no, just no.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm praying it happens. That would be great
I
TV
will-
and entertainment.
I will literally LOL on draft night if they take Mason Rudolph at 15.
oh
If
my
that
God.
happened, I'm questioning whether the Cardinals fans would even watch next
Are they
season.
tanking? Are the Cardinals tanking?
Trust
that
the
might
process.
be what's trust the process.
Trust
Like, I
the
was gonna
process.
say, it's so strange
They like the
because
quarterback class next year so much. That they're,
this is why I go back to it. Like, number one, it's so strange because they have the likes of David Johnson, I know he's coming off a big injury, and
But he's
Larry
still David
Fitzgerald.
Johnson, yeah.
But the thing is, like, listen, I understand it. People put themselves into this situation every year with Sam Bradford. Okay, oh, if he stays healthy, maybe he can
It's
win
a big
10
if.
games. Well, he's never stayed healthy before. In the one season he did, he was Mr. 8-8, and I understand it wasn't a great team, but that's just the way it is. I mean, how many years has he been in the league since 09, 10?
you won't find bigger Sam Bradford defenders than probably Charles and I. You
Yeah, that's a good
probably
point.
won't.
Yeah, you probably
very-
won't, but
very
even
And
for
for
me-
us to come out, because we were talking about, hey, if Sam Bradford was a cheap backup option, would you do it? And we were like, absolutely, we'd take him as a cheap backup. But for a $20 million a year
Hell
star?
no.
Hell no.
No.
Why in the world, if
And
this
then
is
draft
honestly
Mason
happening,
freaking Rudolph.
why did
Jesus.
Larry Fitzgerald stay?
Because he's
Larry.
Larry Fitzgerald. He wants to
Because
play.
he's Larry Fitzgerald.
He
He's
wants to
awesome.
play. He's the man.
Who's throwing to him?
I don't know.
A hospital
Himself.
bed? A hospital
With
bed?
how good his hands are, he could throw to himself and have more success.
Good point.
I do feel bad for him though. He's
Well,
gonna,
I'm seeing why the Sixers game is close. Sixers have 13 turnovers. The Hawks only have 5.
My prediction right now is that
Great.
they lose. Anytime that they turn over the ball that many times early in the
But
game. they
if they win, that's great. I
Yeah.
just say.
lose. Breaking news, hot
Charles.
take by Charles. If the Sixers win,
I
and
was
I
trying
quote,
to. I
"It
was
would
trying
be
to
great."
counter with like a, but they still could win, and it shows grit if they pull off an ugly win.
Oh, yeah.
But I just wanted to just keep it simple.
There
So
seems to
it'll
be a
great.
lot. I mean, I'm only watching this in passing because we're having a show here, but it seems like they're calling an awful lot of fouls on the 76ers and not as many on
The
the
fix is
Atlanta
in.
Hawks.
And not your fix, Ryan.
And that could also.
Very clever of you.
Oh,
I
sneaking
like
that
it,
in.
Charles.
SJM86 did say that. I'm sorry, fellas. I would love Maurice Hurst at 32, highest PFF grade for a college defensive tackle. Built and plays in the same vein as Aaron Darnold. Had a scare with his heart. However, he's my favorite prospect. I like
wouldn't hate Maurice Hurst,
Yeah,
no.
I like Maurice Hurst.
I think he goes. I think he's gone before
I don't
32.
think he would last at 32.
Yeah, I think he's gone. If he's there at 32, absolutely,
Yeah.
he's an option.
I would. Our D line would be.
That would be so stupid.
Our D
Like,
line.
and I
would
mean,
be-
when I say stupid, I mean like stupid good. Like to have Fletcher Cox, Tim Jernigan, and then
Oh my god.
Nada and Hurst. That's
my
that would
God.
be insane.
That would be insane.
So I mean, yeah, if Hurst is on the board, absolutely, he's definitely one of my. Again, like I keep coming back to, one of many options that I would be 100% okay with.
Yeah. I think Fool's Demon gave his quarterback rankings. He said Darnold, Jackson, Rosen, Allen, Mayfield. Wow, Mayfield's low.
Wait, who did he have two?
Jackson.
That's a little high for Lamar for my taste.
Yeah.
And who had that foolish demon?
Sorry, I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's Foolish Demon.
Foolish Demon.
Foolish
think, yeah.
Demon, do me a favor, switch Mayfield and Jackson, and I will completely love it. I will completely
Yeah.
love it.
Try to just skim through these. Talks about Jackson's arm strength and dynamic talent.
Cameron Richardson says $30 million to Bradford and Glennon. My God, with a few crying faces.
Yeah,
Or laughing faces, either way.
La-
They're
well,
crying in
crying laughing
Arizona, we're
faces.
laughing in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're laughing to avoid crying.
Yes.
The
There-
coping method, the 5 stages of dealing with with the tragedy.
They'll get there.
Yeah. There's.
Oh God.
So there's their talk about I think Foolish Demon and SJM went back and forth about Jackson and how putting him into a right situation will help with his with
Yeah,
what he is,
absolutely.
yeah, which is what we talked about. So we'll go to you first. Let's go through. I don't know if you want to do by position or if you just want to just blurt out some names. Day 2, day 3. What are some guys that you're higher on that you are like, ooh, I like it, I really, really like him, or even guys that maybe others in the scouting community or in the media aren't as high on as you, or anyone along those lines?
So one guy that comes to mind is Jordan Lasley. He is a wide receiver from UCLA. So his biggest issue is that he is not too bright off the field. He has gotten, I think he's been suspended 3 times, I believe.
Oh, jeez.
But, this year, with Josh Rosen at quarterback, he was clearly Josh Rosen's favorite target. I think he had something like 75 catches for 1,200
That's how I
yards.
took note of him when I was watching Rosen film. Yeah.
There's 2 games that stand out where he went over 250. One was a USC game, I know for a fact. So he's quicker than he is fast. He doesn't have great size. He's like 6 foot, 6'1". He's not big.
Mm-hmm.
He ran like a 4.5, so he's not fast, not slow. Like I said, he's more quick than he is fast. But he has this uncanny ability, and the only guy I can compare it to, and I know I'm not saying he is this guy, but it's an Antonio Brown-like quality where he's not the fastest guy, but he always manages to get a step on the defensive back. Every time you see him, he has a step on the DB. Even if the play doesn't go to him, even if the throw is inaccurate, whatever, he always seems to have a step. And he's always seems to be, he's just one of those guys who just gets open. And that's a quality that's not, it's just, you can't match that. It's not something you can really quantify. He's quick and he always seems to be open. He's really explosive in and out of his routes. And I think he's got plenty of juice to be an over-the-top kind of guy. He's probably going to go in like the 4th or 5th round because of all the off-field stuff.
Okay.
He's had some concentration drop issues as well, so that's another factor. But I think if you're talking about guys going to good situations. You put him on the Eagles where he's got veterans surrounding him. He's got a great coaching staff in front of him. He's got good veteran receivers playing in front of him. Maybe they can range him in and turn him into a NFL receiver and get him to the maturity where he's acting like a pro. If he gets to that point, I think he could be a really special player. He would be a steal. If he can remedy his maturity issues, he's a steal in the 4th or 5th round.
Gotcha.
Sixers just went up 10, by the way. 84-70.
There we go.
Sweet. I think, what was it, 2 threes?
Yeah, Bellinelli just bombed 2
Bellinelli
threes.
both threes. Oh, boy. Hold on there. So for me, I'll go with one. Obviously, I already talked about Dante Pettis. I think I can't say enough. Because when I was doing wide receivers, I had literally gone through maybe arguably the top 5 or 6. I had gone through Sutton. At this point, I had one more guy to go, and that was Pettis. And my rankings had Ridley, and then DJ Moore was second. I was like, oh, I like this kid, DJ Moore. But then I watched Pettis, and I was like, oh my God. Like, he is so smart at route adjustments. It's unbelievable. Like, he has good speed. He has good explosiveness, but it might not be elite. He doesn't have elite size. He kind of lacks a little bit of physicality. But what I love about Pettis is that he's smart in his route running, and he knows he's very agile and quick. And something I've learned from when it comes to wide receiver evaluations is when it comes to route running and getting separation, not every wide receiver is the same. They do it different ways. But the way Dante Pettis does, it's magical. Like it really is. You guys have to watch film and see the way he does he gets the separation from people with numerous ways. He'll either give him like a dead leg, or he'll give him a little head fake one way. It's really an art when you see the way he does it. And I think even with he might not have elite athleticism, but he did do a workout, I think, not too long ago, and his numbers were solid. I think it was high 4.4s his 40 time.
I think it was like 4.48. Yeah.
4.48, yeah. So which is good, and everything else, I think it was a pretty solid workout. I think with Dante Pettis, you're talking about someone who's third round, fourth round, and I think he will be a really good number 2 wide receiver for a team. I think that's really what he will be. And then plus, you talked about his return ability. Some people will talk about his return ability. Him as a returner is top of the class. And,
Yeah,
and
I'd be hard pressed to think of a guy who I think has more return ability than Dante Pettis in this draft.
Yeah. So I really like him. The fact that he's falling, I think it plays nice for a team that will end up getting him.
Have you watched Jordan Lasley yet?
I've only seen the tape of when I was watching Rosen, so I haven't seen Lasley
You
yet.
need to watch Lasley.
Because
A lot of the stuff you're describing to me is what you love about Pettis.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what Lasley has.
Interesting.
He sets up DBs very well. Like I said, he just always manages to get a step or to get a little bit of an opening. It's even at the catch point, he's very good. Just like that little subtle hand usage at the top of the route or at the catch point, and he's just very good at that.
Gotcha.
And if we're gonna go, if we're gonna stick with wide receivers, another guy I really like is Marcel Aitman.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah. Aitman.
Receiver from Oklahoma State. So he's 6'4", like 215. He's a basketball player from high school, and it just like totally shows. So Mason Rudolph, people that like Mason Rudolph, I mean, God bless you. You like Mason Rudolph, good for you, cool. But if you really watch him and you see how good James Washington and Aitman are, and how much they help him on a lot of throws, so Aitman is the biggest knock on him is going to be routes. He doesn't run them. They're just they have nothing. He runs. They do back shoulder throws. He runs hitches, the occasional post, and hitch and goes. Like he runs no routes, and he's not great at. When we talk about setting up DBs, he's not great at that. That's just not his thing. I think he's got I think he's got potential with that because he's got long strides and he can get on top of DBs pretty quickly. That's why sometimes when he runs a hitch, you'll see he does it pretty well.
Yeah.
But he's just not great with timing, not great with changing speeds.
He needs to be coached.
Yeah, he's not
up.
quite there yet. But when you watch Mason Rudolph make these back shoulder throws to him, his timing with his leaps, he high points the football. He's got strong hands. He's going to be a red zone threat from day one in the NFL. That's what I picture him to be. Again, he'll be like a 4th or a 5th round pick. From day one, you're using him in the red zone. Absolutely, he's going to run fades, whatever, while you refine his route running. And I think a guy like Alshon Jeffrey is a perfect guy for a guy like him to learn from. So I think you have enough depth at receiver that you can afford to draft a guy that's a little bit of a project.
Yeah.
And I think that Aitman would be an interesting project to take on because I think if you're going to compare a guy to Alshon, I think he's really similar in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, I like that. I did watch some of Aitman, and what you say is definitely true. I think he's a developmental guy.
Yep.
But the raw skills are there. His 50-50 ball skills are really good. Foolish Demon says Lasley is solid. Too many drops though.
Yeah. The drops are a worry.
Yeah. Dion Brown says Lasley is explosive off the ball. Foolish Demon says I think he gives some day 2, day 3 guys. He says Anthony Miller, who
I do like Anthony Miller a lot. Yep.
He's my wide receiver 3 right now behind Pettis. Anthony Miller, is legit. He's really good.
Yep.
Simi Cobbs Jr., Mike White, Logan Woodslide, Mark Walton, Justin Jackson, Dorian O'Daniel.
I like Walton from Miami. I like him a lot.
From Miami.
I could see it. He's another guy that I think I could see him easily getting So if the Eagles are just looking for, so let's say that they are more interested in either A, bringing Ajayi back beyond this season, or B, letting Clement take on a bigger role as a lead back. I love the idea of Walton as a change of pace third down back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched a lot of him yet.
Yeah.
What I like about him too, he pass blocks.
Yes.
He's actually good in pass
blocking. Yeah.
So I think he's the kind it's rare for a rookie running back to be able to come in I mean, Corey Clement just came in and did it, but for a rookie running back to come in and be able to be a third down back, but I really like I love Mark Walton's potential as a third down back.
I like Mark Walton. I have him as a round 4 grade.
Round 4 is about right, yeah.
Yeah, if he's there and we picked 30th. If he's there, I would be really happy.
I wouldn't hate
with
it.
Mark
Yeah.
Walton.
So wait, I'm sorry. Name the other couple of names
So
that they
he
said
talked
too.
about so Miller, Simi Cobbs Jr., Mike White, Logan Woodslide, Mark Walton.
I like Mike White. Woodside's probably a 7th rounder priority free agent guy, camp arm kind of dude.
He talked about also Justin Jackson and Dorian O'Daniel. Dorian O'Daniel, he did bring up last week. I didn't do any research on him. He did ask me what I thought, but
I think he's a backup. Really good. I think he has the potential to be like a special teams ace.
Okay.
But I don't see him as a starting caliber
Gotcha.
linebacker in the NFL personally.
Gotcha. He brings up Justin Jackson.
I don't love Justin Jackson either.
I think for me, I gave him like a round 4, round 5 grade.
Yeah.
I like he doesn't have a good lower body, so his leg drive is limited. He's not gonna wow you with power. But what I do like about his game is that for someone who's a little bit taller and a bit leaner, he does have really good agility and elusiveness on second level. He can make multiple moves, and I think that around rounds 4 or 5, I would not be opposed to him.
Yeah, Jackson. I don't know. I think in round 4 or 5, I'm trying to think of running backs off the top of my head, but I think I have to think there'd be better options out there.
If I'm looking at you talked about Mark Walton, right? And you talked about like the role he would play. A smaller scat back type of guy. If we're going out of that mold, Nyheim Hines to me is the
Nyheim
top
Hines.
of that mold. The reason and the sole reason is, and I've talked about it before, he doesn't have good like make you miss ability in terms of he won't juke you out of your shoes or anything like that. He doesn't have like that change of direction ability, but his speed is elite.
He's explosive.
Elite speed, and
Yeah.
when you have an elite trait like that, that goes a long way. So that's why I have him as my top scat back guy, and I gave him a 3rd round grade. But after him, I actually like Ito Smith out of Southern Miss.
I love Ito Smith.
Ito Smith, if you're talking about elite traits,
shifty
as hell.
Shifty.
Holy crap.
No, seriously, yeah. If you guys don't know Ito Smith, just look up. Don't bore yourself with watching tape. Just find a highlight, and there are some the cuts this guy makes.
Yeah.
Some of them are just unfreaking real. The only reason he falls is his size.
Yeah.
And size, and he played it at Southern Miss.
Miss.
Low competition.
Yeah.
But this guy, Ito Smith is a guy that's been on my radar for a while. I really like Ito Smith a lot.
And people have him. He'll probably won't go to maybe round 5, 6.
Yeah, 5, 6.
But
I would say.
I personally, if I'm ranking him, I have him right now. He's a top 10 running back in my opinion.
I'd easily take him in the 5th.
I'd
easily take him in the 5th.
I love Ito Smith. And it's funny because he wears 25.
Yeah,
he
shady.
looks like LaShawn McCoy because he wears 25,
shifty.
and he is literally the cuts he makes. I'm not kidding you. It's unbelievable.
Oh, dude, he's
so that's
good.
why I have those two at the top, because if you are a smaller running back, you have to have elite traits like
He's
that.
caught a ton of passes, too.
Yeah.
I can't think of the number off the top of my head, but he caught a ton of passes.
Yeah.
I think he caught 40 passes each of the last 2 seasons. Something ridiculous like that.
He's so good. I really like Ito Smith.
He's one of the guys that's been on my radar as well.
And then the last running back I'll talk about, and probably my one day 2, day 3 guy that I'm really hitting slamming the table for, or really high on more than anyone else.
For Ito Smith, 40 catches each of the last 3 seasons.
Wow.
So you don't have to worry about whether or not he can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Oh, my God.
7 receiving touctouchdowns, too.
I would be ecstatic with Ito.
Yeah, I'd be really good with that. Sorry.
I'll name my last guy, and then you can give your one more guy. I like John Kelly a lot.
Okay. I like John Kelly,
John
too.
Kelly, to me, someone who had in Tennessee, his O-line was bad. So his ability to run downhill wasn't you can't assess it fair, because he was always running outside because there was constant penetration in the backfield. So there's that. But you talk about someone he's a little small. I think his dimension 5'9", 2, and he weighed in 215.
Yeah.
Something like that. I see the comp that I really like out there, and it's a common comp, but I think that it's a fair comp, is Devontae Freeman, but just less explosive. He doesn't have the long speed or burst as Devontae Freeman does.
You know what though? Look up the Devontae Freeman's 40 time.
It wasn't that good.
Not that good.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think
so
he ran like a 4.58
that.
or something.
there's that. So
Play speed is different sometimes.
yeah, John Kelly, like he, oh man, like his contact balance, I think is up there among the first round running backs. Like he will fight through contact and keep his balance, and his stiff arm is really good. His one game against Florida, you watch that game, and there are like at least 5 massive stiff arms that he gives to defenders, where he just shakes them to the ground. He can fight through tackles because he's very, very well built in his lower body, and he's someone who he has good vision. He has good feel for the hole. He needs to be coached up a little bit in terms of scheme, and you got to see more about what he can do with good blocking. But he can catch passes. He doesn't have the best hands. I'd say they're good, but he ran a bunch of screens at Tennessee. From what I saw, he's really good at running Texas routes. So like if you guys don't know what Texas route is, it's an angle route out of the backfield where he comes out this way to the edge and then he cuts back in. Like he ran that route so often, so effectively when matched up against linebackers. He got so much separation. So I have him. I would take him. I personally would take him in the 3rd round and not think twice about it. I know some people are a lot lower than on him because of his play speed and his time speed and everything, but I just see someone who can step in, and if he right from day one, if he's part of a duo, can be a really, really good running back in as a duo with someone else. And I think that you give him like 10 to 12 carries a game, he will be really, really good.
So I'm gonna give you one more running back, but I'm gonna give you a different position. I'm gonna give you a defensive guy for my own pick.
Okay.
Have you watched Martez Carter yet from Grambling?
Yes. Oh, there's only limited tape,
Yeah.
but the stuff I did see was really good.
It's crazy, and I also
really
like the
good.
fact that he returns punts and kicks.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
But my last guy is going to be Siren Neal.
Okay.
He is a safety from Jacksonville State. Yeah, we're digging
Oh,
deep
wow,
here, baby.
okay.
Jacksonville State. He's probably want to be like a 6th rounder. He actually played weak side linebacker as a junior at 206 pounds.
What?
But that's because he's tough as hell. He's physical as hell. Then last year he played outside corner. So he went from weak side linebacker to outside corner as a senior and handled his own.
Wow.
So it's pretty clear that his next position would be safety. You know what I mean? The NFL he makes the most sense as a safety.
Yeah.
He's like 6'1", 200 pounds. He can cover. He's tough. He's not afraid to go in the box. He's versatile because he can cover or be in the box.
Okay.
The only thing you worry about is, again, playing to the level of competition. I don't know. He was elite at Jacksonville State. If you watch him against the one game they played against like LSU last year, there's some times you're seeing like, okay, this guy actually is okay. Like he's handling himself all right considering. But I just don't know how good he's going to be at the next level. But he's a guy that I think could definitely be again, he's the guy we talk about. At worst, he will be an ace special teams player. At worst.
Good. Nice.
But I kind of like the idea of, so let's say, again, if we're just talking about specifically for the Eagles, Malcolm and Rodney are starting safeties. You bring in this kid as like a developmental 3rd safety
Yeah.
with versatility to come down in the box and cover slots, play that kind of dime linebacker spot that Malcolm played sometimes. I like Neal as a guy that can kind of do a little bit of that.
Nice.
Could do a lot of the things that Malcolm can do. This guy did at college. I don't know whether he'll be able to do it in the NFL, but he did it at college.
There's a lot of talk about the need for safety, and they've brought in someone like we're going back to like the 1st round, but Ronnie Harrison was brought in for a visit.
Justin Reed, I like more.
I do like Justin Reed more. I definitely do, but I think that just by that you can see that the Eagles do need are looking at safety as well.
Yeah, they view it as a need. Yeah,
because you want. I don't know if this is what they are leaning toward, and Tom is going to get. He's going to flip his wig if he hears this, but it is rumored that they are looking for a safety so that they can play Jenkins as that 3rd linebacker more.
This will upset Tom too. That I won't reveal the name, but it's certain someone at my place of business said that he thinks Malcolm Jenkins is better as a dime linebacker than anything else.
That's gonna make Tom really mad.
Oh, yeah.
These are people who follow the team every day, and I'm just saying.
Just
I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree
just
either.
Putting that opinion out there. It's out there.
Because that's pretty much what he played last year. So
He played
I
a
think
shit ton of
they're
down
looking
linebacker.
because I think the Eagles do realize that in terms of that third linebacker, you need that's what they played predominantly in, and so they want that kind of coverage linebacker in dime packages. So that brings in their need for that other safety that they could draft. I would not be surprised at 32 if they draft a safety.
No, I would be
not
shocked at all.
At all.
Not at all.
Dion says it's time for the Eagles to start looking at that position anyway. Malcolm will be 31. McLeod is 27. Neither aren't over the hill, but they still need to look at the position.
They need to put something in the
Rodney
pipeline.
makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
His cap hit goes over $10 million this year.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm
yeah.
not saying. I'm not saying.
I'd be very surprised if he sees the end of his contract.
So
Yeah.
I have a kind of a different type of a question for you guys, something we asked on the page. So
Okay.
if you guys are still talking draft, I can wait.
No, go for it.
So
we pretty much gave our day 2, D3 guys.
okay, so we asked on the page, and obviously people who are watching chime in as well.
Yes.
We put in there one must go. and
Oh
we
God, I
named-
hated. Go, just go.
So
Just
obviously he's gonna have a hard time with this one.
Oh my God, go ahead.
If you had to remove one of these athletes from Philadelphia sports,
Oh God.
who would it be? See, I think it's easy, but it's not at the same time. Our choices are Embiid, Wentz, Simmons, or Hoskins.
Oh no.
I'm not happy about it either.
No. Oh no. No. None of those.
See,
none
like,
of the above.
It doesn't work for none of these work for me.
No.
I'm on
Bellinelli just banked a 3, by the way, to put the Sixers up 13.
Bellinelli!
The banks are open on Tuesday night.
God, I hope they're not because I work at a bank. I'm automatically disqualified from the question because since I don't watch baseball, I'm gonna pick Hoskins.
Oh no.
But
yeah. No.
What made me angry?
Oh God.
He's
I
like,
know.
no, that's not okay. That's not
Oh,
okay.
no.
What made me angry
No.
where there was a comment on there that said, Wentz, we won the Super Bowl without him.
Oh, that's
And I'm like-
silly,
There was one on
silly.
Instagram about that too, saying, "Oh, but we have Foles. You know, Carson didn't win." It's like, are you kidding
Oh,
me?
my
Serious
right now.
God, why?
Like,
And they were saying I don't know if I want to get into it because I'm getting so heated, but
Oh, please
do
get
we
into it.
not do we not stress enough how much of a generational talent Carson Wentz is and how important the quarterback position is? Okay, let's look from a macro perspective. This city is a Eagle city. Am I correct?
first and
Correct.
foremost,
Eagles
yes.
first and foremost. So if anyone is, if you're talking about anyone Eagles, they get priority. Now you're talking about the franchise quarterback who we just drafted 2 years ago, who is everyone is saying could be the best quarterback in
He
the
was
league.
the league MVP until he got hurt.
Right now, until he got hurt. He is the reason we were in position to win the Super Bowl. Nick Foles didn't win us a Super Bowl and by himself. Carson Wentz literally got us in the position to win the Super Bowl. We don't win it without him.
He's the third best quarterback in the league.
Yes,
I'll
and
just-
could be
I'll just say
could
that.
be the best. So it's that easy for you to say, oh, Wentz. And one comment on there was, I'm driving Wentz to the airport. Really? Because I will leave.
What?
I will leave your ass on the airplane
No.
myself
Wait,
to
Yo,
drive Wentz home.
yo,
There's
whoa.
no way.
That comment was on Facebook?
Yes.
I'm going into
Whoa.
it now. I'm naming names.
Call
I
that
gotta find-
guy.
Because
out.
there is no way. And I love.
You are not allowed to.
Yes.
You are not allowed when Carson Wentz is in Canton getting
I'm-
inducted. You are not allowed. There's
So,
a ceremony, sir.
I can't. Wentz is the one guy on there where you say no. In my opinion, you say no because all the circumstances circumstances
Oh.
that I named.
I
Oh,
refuse to.
I know who that is.
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it is stupid and ridiculous.
I will not name names.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I know who you are.
But that just
Oh.
got me.
Oh,
that
dear.
just got me so heated.
I'll read the comments in here though, because there's a lot of them.
Oh man,
Um,
it's just gonna make me so angry.
Bob Brinker said, with sadness, Embiid. Disagree. Michael Jenkinson said, Wentz, we won without him. Shame on
That's
you.
the one. That's the one I was talking about first.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, the first one. The
The
other
first-
one.
yeah.
I'll name the other one. Scott Jakubowski said, this is so easy, it's disrespectful. Adios, Hoskins.
Oh dear.
I know it's getting a little a
Oh,
little harsh.
boy.
Christopher Emerson says, I feel like you can snag a hitter anytime, really. Players like Wentz, Embiid, and Simmons don't come around often, so I feel like I have to go with Hoskins. Just my opinion, though. Doug Zeke, he says Hoskins is the obvious one. But Embiid should get some votes given he is injury prone. And it looks pretty clear we can win without him. That last part, Doug, completely ruined your comment.
No.
Completely ruined it.
No.
Topher Klimek said bye-bye Hoskins. Jacob Wolf drops in a GIF with a child saying 0, none.
Yes, I agree
with the child.
I agree with that child.
Yeah, we don't like this question.
No.
Mary Beth Mannery Lennon says, I only know who one of them are, and we are not getting rid of Carson, one of the Sixers, since there's 2 here.
Okay,
All right, Mary
That's,
Beth.
hey, you know
that's
what?
good
That's
logic.
very deductive
Yeah.
reasoning.
Yes. Mario Cerrito is the one who said, I'm driving Wentz to the airport. Mario Cerrito, you're going to go in the airport with them. And you're not coming back if you're going to say that.
You're taking Wentz's seat on the airplane.
Yeah.
So,
Tyler.
I just
Yeah.
so the fact that some people are just saying, "Oh yeah, easy Hoskins." Oh yeah, easy. Are you kidding me? The guy is leading the league right now in average and on base percentage, and he's ridiculous. He had one of the greatest starts in Major League Baseball history. For you to just listen, if I had to pick, he's probably the guy I pick. But to say easy choice,
Yeah.
no.
I agree.
I only said no
Are you
brainer because I don't
kidding
watch
me?
baseball.
Well, that's
the
different.
only thing,
I'm
yeah.
saying for the people that are
Yeah.
commenting, saying, "Oh yeah, easy choice, Hoskins."
I agree with you, and you beat me to it. My pick
Gun
would
to
be
my
Hoskins.
head, it would be Hoskins.
Well, speaking of gun to head, so Dion says none really, none, but gun to my head, I would say Hoskins.
yeah.
But
Agreed,
he said
Dion.
it's a long baseball season. NBA, NFL are short in their respective leagues. NFL is only 16 games.
What I would say for Hoskins, so compared to everyone else, all those other people have a bigger body of work than Hoskins as well.
And I feel that
So that would be why I would probably say that. But with that said, the body of work that Hoskins has is stupid. It's so good. So for some people to just say, "Oh yeah, easy Hoskins," no, it's not easy.
people would get mad at me for saying this in this way, but unlike Hoskins, the Eagles need Carson Wentz. I believe the Sixers need Ben Simmons and Embiid. The way baseball is constructed, given the amount of players that they have, and given this team how they're constructed with how many young, exciting prospects and players they have. Listen, Hoskins is at the top of the list for me, okay? But compared to the Sixers situation of needing Embiid and Simmons, and the Eagles situation of them needing Carson Wentz, and don't give me the people that still think, oh, they don't need Wentz because they have another quarterback,
No.
Nick Foles. No, they need Carson Wentz. Seriously,
Yeah, we need
if you
Wentz.
want if you want 5 of these Super Bowls, you know the thing
yeah,
called
your
a Super Bowl.
your poll question from last week.
If you want in the next 10 years, if you want more than one, you're going to
Wentz.
need Wentz.
You need
Okay,
Wentz.
so that's why I would go Hoskins.
Yep.
Dion says read my comment. On that Twitter. He said, oh, sorry, you just did. I was about to say, Dion, we did read it, Dion.
Yep.
Let's see. Foolish Demon said Hoskins because I'm not a Phillies fan. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a tough question, obviously.
Yep.
Very tough question.
Todd Womack. Sorry, steering
Yeah,
again because I'm just reading through comments
Yeah,
I missed.
that's fine.
Todd Womack did ask, "Do you guys like the Notre Dame wide receiver?" Is he talking about St. Brown?
I'm assuming equanimity is
St.
St.
Brown.
Brown.
I like
I
him.
do.
I do like him. He's a big body. Oh my god. Like
And he runs.
Yeah.
He's pretty fast
He's
for a
pretty
big dude.
fast, yeah.
He's like 6'5", and he ran like a 4 5s, I think.
yeah. And plus that first name is baller. Equanimous.
Yeah, that's his most
That's
baller
awesome.
first name.
What's
Did you see the thing though that so there was the HBO Sports thing on his family. His 2 brothers are also college receivers.
Oh really?
His dad's like the LeVar Ball, except his kids are actually talented. Of
And he's not LeVar
of
Ball.
college football players. Yeah,
That's cool. Dion Brown also says, "I like Cortland Sutton at SMU. I love to have him."
I
Yeah, I
love
guess he's with
Cortland
you, yeah.
Sutton so much.
We
That is my dude.
we have an interesting ending to this 76ers game.
Yeah.
It is down to
3.5.
5 points, 109,
We are
104.
delayed.
Yeah, we're on the stream.
Oh, I
We're
mean,
on
it's not
delayed.
109 to 104. I'm
It is.
completely lying.
now it is.
Oh,
Now
no,
it
it is
is.
now. Okay.
Now it is.
So I'm not spoiling.
Yeah, we're a few seconds delayed.
With about 2 minutes left, I believe, at least on my end.
My end is 3, so I'm guessing Urson misses this.
I don't know.
No.
Oh, we made it.
Urson
I
got
lied. I lied to all of you. So yeah, once again, we're gonna have an exciting. It's actually been a while, except for that Cavaliers game. It's been a while since we've had an exciting ending to a Sixers game, not involving our backup players.
Oh,
This just shows you how good they are. They're throwing up a clunker and they're still gonna win.
So is Dario's back, correct?
No.
So they're doing it without Dario, obviously without Embiid.
Simmons was in foul trouble. He
And
just
then
came back
Redick
in.
was on. He got a technical early, so he had to.
Oh, you gotta
What?
finish
That was a
that,
good-
JJ.
Oh my God.
Ben made a beautiful pass to JJ.
Sixers
Little layup.
JT chiming in. He just knows when we talk Sixers. He just
He
pops
does.
right in. He
He
says,
just
"Coming
does.
in late. What's up, guys? You're
Well,
not coming in
Sixers
late, Sixers JT. You're coming in just in time."
We're soon gonna get into Sixers talk, but finishing up draft talk real quick.
Mhm.
I just want to read these comments. Flo Stevens does say, "I think Walton would be a great fit. He can be our Darren Sproles replacement." I was also gonna say that he can pass block. Deion Brown says the wide receiver from Memphis is a baller as well.
Miller,
I just
yeah.
can't remember his name yet. Anthony Miller.
Stud. I agree. I like him a
Yeah,
lot.
a lot of people like him. Deion Brown says, wide receiver wise, does Ridley from Bama go within the first 4 rounds? Did he go first round?
Really, he's a first rounder.
Yeah, he's a
Absolutely.
first
He's the
round-
first receiver
yeah.
off the board.
He's a first round pick. I mean, I've heard stuff that there are some scouts and evaluators that like DJ Moore more than Ridley because they feel like even though right now Ridley's more polished, DJ Moore has a higher ceiling, which I understand. But I love Ridley's route running ability. I think you can't go wrong with that.
He's easily the most polished pro-ready receiver in the draft.
It's time for let's see. Deion Brown says it's time for the Eagles to start looking for that at that position anyway. He's talking about. Oh no, you read that comment. Sorry.
Safety, yeah.
And then so I think I'm caught up.
So Sixer JT just chimed in saying Scott Kingery just hit a grand slam. And he says
What?
the kid is going to be a stud. I disagree, JT. He already is a stud.
Oh yeah.
He already is.
He really
I
is.
have no clue who that is, but it's okay.
He's a guy who plays baseball.
And he's good at it.
Baseball.
Baseball.
There's no crying in baseball.
See, there's the sport where you throw a ball and you hit a ball.
It's a little white ball, not as small as a golf ball, but a little bit bigger. It's got these
Ooh.
red stripes on it.
The
All right.
stitchings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ye-
okay.
yes.
Yes.
Yo, speaking of studs, Aaron Nola tonight, you see his line?
I didn't.
8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts.
I'm more excited for Kapler, the fact that he got over his little
Yeah, right.
his little bubble there.
In 3 starts, Nola's got his ERA is under 2.
We
so
didn't-
There's that.
I didn't get a chance to ask you this yet.
Go for it.
What do you? Last time I talked to you was before this season began.
Reese Hoskins is over 4.
He's gone. Get him out.
I'll
him
drive him to the airport.
yeah. Chime that one in. What do you think of Kapler?
I don't want to overreact, but it has not been pretty thus far.
I respectfully agree with you.
Yeah.
I did not share that opinion, and I did not take it cautiously.
Yeah.
I may or may not have put a poll out on A2D last week, which people were not happy with us. I may have put in there a certain question saying, who do you hate more, Chip Kelly or Gabe Kapler? I may or may not have.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
not confirming
Oh,
or
boy.
denying.
Oh, boy.
I may or not
Oh,
may not have pushed the button saying post. I may. Or, listen, man.
My 2 cents as someone who's just watching on the outside. I keep track of the Phillies scores and everything, so I know when they win and lose and stuff. I'm not completely out of the loop, but from someone on the outside looking in and seeing all the stuff been about Kapler, I still think that even though it's like really really bad, I would say be patient because you never know.
It's so early.
It's really early. So that's just from me. I don't watch baseball, but I know things are bad. I know he pulled Nola in the season opener, and it was really bad. I get it, and he tans too much.
Ooh. Sorry,
what-
Simmons
what?
just had a vicious throwback
Nice.
dunk. I think he missed it. I think he got his own miss and it slammed.
Nice. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I think you gotta be patient.
My parallel would be, and I'm not saying he's going to wind up being this, and
I
he's
know
going
where
to
you're
wind
going.
up with
I know
Doug
where you're
Peterson.
going. There you go.
Everybody ripped Doug Peterson his first year, and sometimes rightfully so. Doug
Yeah.
did some
Oh,
stupid
yeah.
stuff that he would look back on and probably say, like, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done this."
He
or that, or
challenged
whatever.
he challenged a 2-yard play.
Yep.
against Green Bay. I mean,
Yep, I remember that. I remember that
who was
vividly.
at that game?
Yeah,
Dion.
2-yard play. But that's the thing. But so it's a learning on the job
Yeah.
thing. He's got 162 games. We're in what, game 12?
11, 12,
Yeah,
something
so
like
I mean,
that.
we
Which they
got-
just won, by the way. So.
We got some time. So let's just
Yeah.
all breathe and let's see if Gabe can figure it out. If he doesn't, they'll do their like if they're a disaster. Like if it winds up
in
being
2 months. Yeah.
yeah. If this stays, well, no, I think he gets the season.
Really?
I do. I think he gets the season. But if he's like this all season long, he ain't coming back next year.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree. Dion chimes in. My favorite comment of the night so far. He says, technology nowadays is freaking crazy. He says, I have you guys, the Sixers game, and my Black Lightning on my TV on all the time.
Black Lightning.
He says, my thumb is getting a major workout tonight.
Oh,
Let's
man.
see.
Oh my gosh,
How
Dion.
awesome is technology? We're watching the Sixers game on a damn
Yeah,
We're
tablet
watching,
while we're
are
doing
we're
watching
the
it
watching
show.
this
too.
while you're watching us, while
Yes.
you were watching.
Well, you're probably
Fancy.
watching that.
Yes.
Wow.
I feel like this is a commercial for
And
something.
it's funny because over on this computer, I'm watching you guys while watching you guys. We're watching the Sixers game
Okay.
over here.
All right, can we
crazy.
stop?
Yeah.
my head's hurting.
Yeah, it's true. Sixers JT says, I love the Sixers, but I've been Phillies JT tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
Clever.
Well, okay. So let's transition. So we're pretty much wrapped off draft talk. 2.5 weeks away. So it's
I'm
getting close.
super
I'm so
pumped.
hyped. I do want. We talked Sixers last week, so I just really quick before getting into Sixers again, I do want to talk Flyers with you because you're like the only other person that watches hockey with me on here. So real quick, Flyers clinched, which is
Yeah.
great. We blew out the Rangers. I was really hoping because everyone was bringing up the 2010 final game, how it came down to the shootout, and I was like, please, I do not want that to be. I cannot
No.
survive that again. But it was great to see Giroux with a hat trick, Elliott with a shutout.
I still think, for the record, I still think that first goal hit Nolan Patrick's stick, but that's
I
just
feel like
me.
it did too, but hey, he's got his point, so
yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
all that
matter.
matters.
Now we do face the Pens tomorrow night, game 1. What are your opinions? The chances? What are the keys for this series in order for us to come out with the win?
Actually, I want to put this out there first. I am looking for a new Flyers shirt. I want to get a jersey of a
Konechny.
player.
Konechny.
And I'm open to suggestions. Konechny is at the top of that list, along with Ivan Provorov,
Provorov was my second.
along with Nolan Patrick. So, I mean, I'm open. I don't know if anyone has any opinions on what you think.
See,
I'm
I
open.
would-
I need to figure this out by tomorrow night,
see the
but I don't know.
for me, I'm waiting 2 years for Carter Hart,
Okay,
and that is
fair enough.
That is the next
I
shit I'm
get
getting.
it.
I'm like,
I get
I
it.
am praying for Carter Hart.
That kid's
so-
gonna be
yeah.
a stud.
Oh my God, I'm a
Um,
goalie person. I played grade school. I played goalie.
He's gonna be really, really,
And,
really
yeah,
good.
Oh my gosh,
all
I am
indications.
like counting down the days for him to come. But anyway,
So the keys, I would say, the biggest thing, and I think it's been kind of beaten to death, but it is so true. They have to stay out of the box.
yeah,
Because the Penguins' power play is ridiculous. That's how they score. That's how they beat the Flyers this year. Honestly,
yeah,
the Flyers are one of the most. Surprisingly, this is like one of the first years we can say this. They're one of the more disciplined teams in the
yeah.
entire league this year.
One of the least penalized. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but for whatever reason, when they play the Penguins, and I'm just saying, when they play the Penguins, they suddenly get grabby and start committing penalties for some reason. So to me, that's without a doubt the biggest key in the series is they absolutely have to stay out of the penalty box. Beyond that, I would say they need to make sure that the defensive pairing of Gudis and Manning is not exposed because they are really bad.
yeah.
They are both very bad.
Oh my God.
Together, they are a
Yeah,
dumpster fire.
It's really bad.
And if they even sniff the ice when Crosby or Malkin are on it, the Flyers
gonna
are
be
in
trouble.
a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Ivan Provorov's going to have to play 30 minutes a damn night. It's just like he's going to have to do it. They have no choice.
That was
He
going
has
to
to
be.
play 30 minutes a night in order for them to win any games.
I
He
was
has
gonna
to do
say.
it.
I was gonna say he's one of my.
Ghost
keys
is
for
going to have to
series.
play 25 or 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Then even McDonald and Sanheim are going to have to carry a big load.
McDonald.
Andrew McDonald, I will say this, and I am one of the biggest, and this is like me with Vitae with the Eagles.
Uh-huh.
I have one of the biggest Andrew McDonald bashers. He has been solid lately. Not great, just solid. He has
Solid.
been solid lately.
I'll take your word for it.
Him with Sanheim works because Sanheim likes to jump up in the play. He
Yeah.
likes to get involved in the offense. So just McDonald's doing a good job, just steady play on the back end. Just don't pinch, don't do anything that's out of your comfort zone. Just play your game. And I think with Sanheim, it allows McDonald to just play his game. He's not overdoing it.
Yeah,
And I think it's shown. The last couple weeks he has been solid.
I agree.
But I worry. But I just that third pairing just
That's
worries
bad.
the shit out of me.
I think
that along with the goaltender because I don't even know.
Yeah, with Elliott, I was gonna say with Elliott, he had. I know he's just coming back,
yeah.
but he's going to have to be how he was pre-injury.
Yep.
He
He was very good
yes.
before that.
Oh yeah. Oh
very,
yeah.
very good.
Yeah. Even during that losing streak we had,
He was good. Yeah,
he was really
not
good.
the reason
He
they
was
were
not
losing.
the reason. So he's gonna have to come back to the form. And hopefully that shutout was a confidence booster, because I know he had that one bad goal, and people were on him
Yeah.
for that. But again, that was his first game back from injury.
Rust. Yeah, it
It's
was just
rust. So I gave that pass to him. I think that he's going to be. I mean, it's goaltending in the playoffs. It's always the first
Yeah.
key.
Especially with Philadelphia Flyers, it is a perpetual thing.
Oh my God.
Hopefully, will be solved in a couple years with Carter Hart.
Carter Hart. That's what we're praying. But in terms of
And
this
Felix Sandstrom as the backup. I don't know if you know about
year,
Felix
Sandstrom.
He's pretty damn good himself.
People are arguing that it was going to be between Carter Hart and Sandstrom. I like Carter Hart more.
It'll be both of them.
Yeah, I
It'll
like
be
that tandem.
It'll be Carter Hart getting the bulk, but Felix Sandstrom
Will
will
be
still
right
have.
there, yeah. I like both of them. I love having these goaltending.
They
Goaltending
have
prospects.
They
Oh
have
my
depth
God.
in their system in general, man.
Yes,
the Flyers,
they do.
they're in really. People don't realize so they made the playoffs and that's great.
Ahead of schedule.
Ahead of schedule, but man, they have so much coming on the horizon
Yes.
too.
And who do you thank for that? You thank
Mr.
Ron Hextall. He said that from the beginning. I know some people were like, GM's a problem. I saw this on Facebook. GM's not the problem.
No, anyone who says the
Hextall from
GM's problem doesn't get it.
Hextall from the beginning said what his plan was. He was put in a bad spot where he had so many
Terrible
bad
spot.
contracts from Holmgren's tenure, and he had to clear all that. And he said, "I'm building through the draft."
Just
I'm
think of the
building through
contract.
the draft.
The contracts he has dumped. He got a third-round pick for Zach freaking Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He got something for Vinny LeCavier and Luke Shen.
I don't know how he got something from Vinny.
He's traded players and actually gotten things of value for them.
He
that's. And you look
He's
again.
done
You look
an
at
awesome job.
You look at his recent draft record, getting Gosper in the third round. I mean,
Been a really
I
good-
think that was actually Holmgren's pick.
Was
But
it
still,
Holmgren's?
he might have been the assistant at that point.
Okay.
But still, he's done a good job. They've done a really good job drafting over the last
Yes.
few seasons.
So, I think it was Foolish Demon. It was Foolish Demon that dropped the comment saying, "I hate the Penguins more than Dallas, to be honest."
Wow. That's
Well, and
strong.
that actually
Wow.
reminded me of I think it was a poll question I saw on Twitter.
Looks like the
other day.
Sixers are going to close this out, by
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
the
What
way.
is that, 15?
They're up 7
7.
with 16 seconds left, and Ilyasova is about to go to the line.
And that's
Yep.
15th straight, correct? And that's
That would
number
be
52.
15 straight.
And that's number 52 as far as win.
Yes.
Correct.
No,
Very
51.
nice. 51?
52. No,
52.
52. I'm sorry. I forgot about Dallas.
It's easy to forget about Dallas.
Yes, because they
Very
are
simple.
terrible. And
Um,
and they would be, if they win tomorrow, they would be the first team in NBA history to go into the playoffs with a 16-game winning streak.
Okay.
Crazy.
Lord. Good luck.
So, my question is, as both a Flyers and an Eagles fan, who do you hate more, the
Cowboys.
Cowboys or the Penguins?
Cowboys.
I think it's a no contest. I think it's Cowboys.
Because-
I think it's Cowboys no contest too. Oh, you know what? I'll say this: this current iteration of both teams, I think I actually might hate the Penguins a little more.
Because
Overall, grand scheme,
it's
my
Cowboys.
whole life, it's not even close. Cowboys.
Are the
Yeah.
Cowboys, as a Philly fan, your most hated team?
Yes, and it used to be
Yeah.
New York because I lived near there, but it is the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's over.
It is
They're
the Cowboys.
up 9, 16.4 left. This
Yeah.
babe, they got this bad boy wrapped up.
For me, I actually agree with you. As far as a team, I hate the Giants more. The fans, I hate the Cowboys more.
Sorry, but Ben
I-
Simmons just had a disrespectful. So
Good.
this is amazing.
Good.
With 8 seconds left, Damian Lee tries to chuck up a 3, and Ben Simmons just says, "Nah." Just
Nice.
swatted into
Good.
the
Nice.
seats.
Listen,
Sorry.
people are getting upset because he's talking a little bit more and he's being more of a quote unquote
I love it.
savage.
I love it.
And they're-
I love it.
But like even this morning, people were saying like, "Oh, maybe he is the next LeBron. It's like, okay, that's a great. Okay, cool. I'll take that.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the next best player in the world for 10 years.
He's the next guy to get us to the.
Okay.
He's going to get us to the
Yeah.
finals in like
I'll take
8
it.
straight seasons. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's do
God.
that.
But to what your question was, it was with Dallas. It was because I was living so close to New York, and because New York, if you're talking about city-wise, Philly's number one rival in terms of city is New York because of proximity and history. But and like you could argue.
Simmons fouled out.
Oh, okay. You could argue that the Giants and the Eagles have had better games in their rivalry, more classic games in their rivalry. But for me personally, I'm just talking about me personally because I wasn't live for during the Buddy Ryan era and all that Tom Landry era. I feel like hi Greg,
Hi man.
that's a big guy. The minute I started to really like in college is when I started getting hardcore into football, and the more I started to learn about Jerry Jones and about the Cowboys fans, that's when I was like, I cannot stand the Cowboys, and that's when they became my number one hated team over New York. Because as much as I hate New York, I do respect that franchise. I think they are a respectable franchise that is a classy organization. So and they've won. So like they get my respect, but that's where I'm coming from. I think it's shifted that way.
Foolish Demon chimes in. This actually opened up a very interesting topic in the chat. He says, teams I hate in sports are the following: Dallas, the Penguins, the Longhorns, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Cubs, the Yankees.
The Cubs?
And, I don't understand the Cubs, Foolish Demon. And the San Francisco Giants.
San Francisco Giants. Okay.
Um,
It's a random.
I kind of get
actually-
that. Just
I can't stand the Giants, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Very true. Now, and then Sixers
That was
JT.
Greg, by the way, guys, if you didn't know.
Yeah, hi, Greg.
Greg walked in the building. He's a big guy.
Sixers JT said, since I'm not a hockey guy, who do you guys hate more, the Cowboys or the Celtics? I don't really hate the Celtics.
See, the thing is,
I don't
we
care
didn't
about
grow
the
it's
Celtics.
tough where we didn't grow up with that rivalry.
I'll say
you
this.
know?
No, you know what? So, not first of all, without doubt, it's the Cowboys. It's not close.
Yeah.
But I remember. First of all, it's the like before our time, the '80s when it was Dr. J, Larry Bird. But I remember in the late '90s, early 2000s, when it was Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker. I hated that Celtics team, and they beat the Sixers every year.
Yeah.
And I hated them. That was like when AI was starting to come up.
Yeah.
And they were just starting, like it was before the 2001 run. And, yeah, I couldn't stand, and they were cocky as hell. And they used to talk so much trash on the Sixers, and I did not like that team at all.
As a Sixers fan, which team in the NBA do you hate the most?
For me personally,
Yeah.
I can't stand the Knicks because I've had a lot of Knicks fans, and they're not the Sixers' biggest
pity
rival.
the
I will
Knicks.
admit. I will admit, but again, I spent a lot of time in Central Jersey in that New York market, and I have a lot of Knicks friends, friends who are Knicks fans. I cannot stand the Knicks. I really it brings me joy to see how bad they are. So
What about you,
that's
Paulie?
personally me.
I'm going to give you an outside the box one and talking about things that are going on recently.
I know where you're going.
The Utah freaking Jazz.
I know exactly where you're going.
Because
Here we
screw
go.
their fans.
You know what? They're like the Minnesota Vikings of the NBA for us at the
analogy,
moment.
yes.
They just showed up in our lives for no reason. They stayed.
And
That's
they don't deserve to be there,
No.
too, on top of it. They don't
Exactly.
deserve our time.
It's like, for example, the Eagles blew out the Vikings. Ben Simmons is blowing out Donovan Mitchell.
Exactly.
It's not even. It's the same comparison.
Same thing.
For me, it's two. For two separate reasons. Number one, I hate the Lakers because of Delavecchio. Because he's always in my
Lakers
ear
too.
about that.
I totally get the Lakers.
I hate
in
the
general.
Lakers too.
Yeah.
They were close. They were close.
But as far as and Ralph's not going to like me saying this, as far as a relevant team, it's the Warriors. I can't
Really?
I can't stand the
I
freaking
don't like the
Warriors.
Warriors.
I can't stand
I
them.
used to
By the
like
way,
Curry.
Donovan
That's
Mitchell and the
changed.
Jazz are blowing out the Warriors right
good.
now.
Oh, good for them.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh,
He's
it's
not going to
nice.
be Rookie of the Year.
Mm.
It's cute. Real quick, and I do want to get into that topic, but
Mhm.
real quick, Paulie, chances that Giroux wins MVP?
They should be great, but they're not.
I know.
Because, I don't know. People just – he finished second in the league in
And
points.
points.
He willed his team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable down the stretch. Had a 10-game point streak. For him not to be, he has to be a finalist. If he's not, then
He
the whole
has
thing's
to be a
sham.
finalist. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I saw a thing that somebody, I can't remember the name of the TV personality, but a guy from NHL Network put out. They did a NHL Network like staff poll.
Okay.
Giroux finished like 5th.
Oh, come on.
Nathan McKinnon won. I'm like, what the hell? Nathan McKinnon, someone put out a stat too. Nathan McKinnon had 6 points in these last 10 games. Like, what did
Wonderful.
he do down the stretch to get, and come on. Like, I was glad that Connor McDavid wasn't in there because I think that's ridiculous. I don't know how you can give a guy MVP for a team that regressed and is not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could give him the – to me, it's just everything makes sense for Giroux to get it. Second league in points, led the league in assists.
Team made the playoffs.
Came in
wanna
on
talk about
fire,
qualifier,
took the team into the playoffs. He helped – people will talk about his supporting cast. He made Couturier have a career year.
Yeah.
He made Travis Konechny have a career year.
Yeah.
They didn't make him. He made them. Like, it's a silly thing that he would even not – he has to be – to me, he's the MVP of the NHL. It's not – and I don't even think it's close. I don't think he's going to win it just because I don't think he's going to win
haven't been up to date with the whole league for all year. I'm just catching up, so I can't give you who else I think would be more deserving than Giroux. But as someone who's been a Giroux fan since he got drafted and entered the league, this is by far the most impressive I've seen him since
best year.
2012. In the playoff series against Pittsburgh, where he absolutely took over that series. But I've been critical of Giroux for being his disappearing in the playoffs as of late. Since 2012, he's been a no-show in the playoffs. But
Most of the team has.
yeah, the team has, but he hasn't. As a leader, you kind of it goes on your
I hear you.
shoulders. He answered all because in recent years, even this city has been really hard on Giroux, saying he's not the captain. There are fans saying that they wanted to strip him of the seat and give it to Simmons.
There's a lot of fans.
people that
There's
wanted
a
to
lot
do
of people
that.
that hate on Giroux in general.
Yeah, a lot
and
of
he's
going
to
to
go down as one of the greatest Flyers players of all time.
Exactly, because I feel like people don't understand how complete his game is. Out of all the players, now is he elite like Crosby or Ovechkin or Malkin? No, he's not on that tier. But he's
second tier.
He's the tier right after it.
Yeah,
he does everything. Do you remember how long he would spend time killing penalties too? He would take all the face-offs in the defensive zone.
He killed a lot.
He
of
led the
early on
league
his
in
career,
defensive zone face-off percentage.
Yeah,
that 1 year, both ends of the ice. He plays everywhere. He led the league in power play points that one season. I believe he led the league, but if not led the league, he was up there.
Yeah,
over the last few years, you can't find me a player in the NHL who's by far and away so much better all around complete game than Giroux. If you're not talking about Crosby, if you're not talking about guys like that,
Connor McDavid, Malkin, those
yeah,
guys.
those guys. Yeah, obviously they're better than Giroux, but give me the tier and below him. You have to appreciate what him as a center does for this team. And it has gone underappreciated for too long. And what he has done this year, I think it should put Philly fans, it should ease their concern over Giroux.
What should too, something that I think should be taken into account too, as a captain, they asked him, "Hey, can you move to wing? And we're gonna put Sean Couturier as a center on your line." And he didn't bat an eye. He said, "Yes, I will do it. If it's going to make the team better,
and look what
I will do it."
And look what it did.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's to be accounted for. You can't just discredit that. That's it's a lot of pride to say, "Fine, I'm going to do whatever it takes for the team to be better."
Yeah.
And it worked. And like you said, it worked like a charm. And it's something that just goes to his character. Another reason, again, why I think he's the most valuable.
Yeah.
I'll give you one example of one of the many examples of why or how great of a season Giroux has really had. Obviously we were talking about it the other day. The fact that he reached 100 points this season, and the last time that happened was Eric Lindros.
Yeah.
And I believe he's only the fifth player in franchise history to do it.
That makes sense.
Which, if you put the grand scheme of things into play, how can he not be in that discussion? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just one example, and I can go on a list.
He's having one of the greatest seasons for a Philadelphia Flyer ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is a
Or
building
he
team.
had.
This is
His
not on
season's
a
over for
this is not
Bucks
on a
now.
top team. This is on a building team, and he's
Yeah.
doing this.
They're a young team.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a
Very
young team. Yep,
team.
absolutely.
With more coming, more youth coming.
Yep.
Dion gave us his top 5 as far as hated franchises. He said Cowboys with about 50 exclamation points. This is all in caps, by the way.
Okay.
All in caps.
Love it.
2, the New York Yankees.
Fair.
3, the New York Mets.
Fair.
New York.
Sensing a theme
The
here.
New York- I
Yeah.
like the New York hate.
4, the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay.
And 5, the New England Patriots.
Sure.
Of course.
Waiting for a Patriots
Of
mention there.
course.
Yeah, I feel like that should go without being even said. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we should assume, like, the Patriots don't even need to be mentioned. It's like,
Yeah,
because they're the
everyone
Patriots.
hates
Everybody
How can
outside
we-
of New England hates
How can we
Patriots.
let? By the way, I saw on Facebook. We'll be posting it tomorrow. There was a picture taken with a guy, like he had a van and he had 2 bumper stickers. On one side it was an Eagles logo, on the other side it was a Patriots logo on the same car, like on the hood of his van.
What the hell?
It's like, what are you doing?
Did it have the score or the Super Bowl on it?
No, I was looking for it. I was hoping the license plate
Oh
had
my
the score.
god.
Yeah, no.
The only time I could see that being okay is if him and his wife share that car. And
No,
and-
but then you
and
just don't put.
they-
Then you just don't put
they're
any
both in.
stickers on the damn
How
Yeah,
did
car.
and then it, yeah.
Well, how did that marriage survive?
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah,
Let's
too.
be
true.
honest with ourselves.
That's true.
Hopefully it was a prank and the guy had a Patriots logo and then some random
Yeah.
guy came up with an Eagles logo, put that on there, went 50 yards back, took a picture.
Oh,
I like
God.
that theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for that guy's sake. If not, how are you
Yeah.
driving that thing? How has someone not hit that car? Like
I
purposely?
don't know.
Like, oh, get him off the road. You know what I'm saying?
Little
Just a
fender
little-
bender here.
Little nudge. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
little love tap. So to finish off, Simmons, his quotes yesterday and Donovan Mitchell reactions.
Him.
As I told you guys earlier, the comments I've seen on social media after what Simmons says, flat out laughable. What people are saying, like people are like, "Oh, but Donovan Mitchell's the real MVP. I mean, the real Rookie of the Year. Oh, but Simmons can't hit a 3. Oh, but Simmons can't shoot a free throw. Oh, but Simmons isn't a real rookie. Oh, blah 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 blah. But can he score like Donovan Mitchell? It's like, are you serious right now? This is what you're coming with? This is literally your arguments. And then, I'm sorry, Stephen A. Smith was interviewed today on 97.5, and
Why are you even giving credence to that guy?
it's on I don't know. I just saw it on my Twitter feed, and like I couldn't not read it because it was just, I was so entrenched with anger. For one, Stephen A. Smith, like, and I used to love Stephen A. Smith, but he's become a complete moron.
He's a cartoon character.
Oh my God! And he said that because Simmons can't shoot a 3, and because Simmons was able to sit a year, he would give the Rookie of the Year to Donovan Mitchell.
And that's
And
why Stephen A. is an idiot.
Yeah, and then he followed that up by
Fair.
also still standing by his stance that the process, he hated the process for what it did for the city.
Oh, really?
And then, by the way, this was my friend told me this shortly after, and then I saw on Twitter people were acknowledging it. He says that he doesn't like the process because he finds it as a racially thing,
Yeah,
racial
cool.
motives. He said that if a black coach was the coach, he wouldn't have gotten the leash that Brett Brown did.
Well,
Why? Like, why does it always have to be a race thing with him?
aside, like, other than that, the funny part about this entire Stephen A. Smith saga, just the last 2 days, all right? So he goes out. Well, first off, a few weeks ago, he was saying that the process was disrespectful, okay, and it was an embarrassment to the city and to the sport and to the league.
The city is doing pretty
It's an
well.
embarrassment
Stephen A.
that he was a
Smith.
reporter in
Yeah.
the city.
Fair, that's fair as well. Then he called Markelle Fultz, a 19-year-old first-round pick who played his first game after being injured, or I should just say quote-unquote injured. Can't be too sure, but first
Yeah.
game in a long time. He called him disrespectful for not answering a question. Then he goes to yesterday, and he goes on television
And says,
like a little he looked like a little freaking schoolgirl, how excited he was. He was so giddy, saying, "Oh, I have an announcement. Oh, my God, the Sixers are going to the Eastern Conference Finals." And then today, he takes shots at Simmons And then he still drops in saying, oh, by the way, the process, I don't like it. It was disrespectful. So if you don't like it, Stephen A., then don't come on the day before saying that, oh, my God, I have an announcement. They're going to go to the Eastern
That's my
Conference
favorite.
Finals.
That's my favorite thing in the world because he's not these far from the only person to do this. Say, oh, I hate the process, but Sixers are going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You're contradicting yourself. Like,
what? They're going to the Eastern Conference Final because of the process, dude. Like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't even make any sense. So, real quick, Donovan Mitchell. Here's my biggest thing, because what people will bring up, scoring. So, Donovan Mitchell averages 4.5 more points a game. Okay.
on how many more shots?
He takes 5.5 more shots a game. Come on. Like, this isn't complicated. Dude, like, Ben Simmons just averages 8 assists and 8 rebounds.
Without a jumper.
Without
can we just state the
Dude,
fact
like-
that he doesn't have a jumper and he's still not that far off in terms of points per game? That is absolutely insane. Teams know he's driving to the basket, then they still can't stop him. That goes all toward Ben Simmons as credit.
I might quote Stephen A. right now. I might pull in a Stephen A. quote. For anybody who honestly thinks Donovan Mitchell should be Rookie of the Year, and I quote Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed. Stay off the weed. In
Say
all
it right.
seriousness.
Stay off the weed.
Yeah. Stay off the weed.
Good
Oh,
Lord.
God. God.
TTB Ballin, what's going on, TTP? He chimes
Hey.
in saying Donovan Mitchell was wearing a sweatshirt that had a
we saw
definition
it.
of rookie, an athlete playing his first season on a professional sports team. I'm pretty sure the playing part makes Ben rookie.
Yeah.
So it contradicted
So
itself.
when you
He
look at it
contradicted- yeah.
literally and take the literal definition, you just admitted that Ben Simmons should be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Cool. But like someone else said, you've already admitted defeat then. If you're going to stress so much about what a rookie is and that Ben Simmons isn't you've already admitted I'm not as good of a player as Ben Simmons.
Simmons.
So let me attack the fact that he's not a rookie because I know I'm not as good.
If you need to go and make a hoodie to describe how good you are, you're not as good as the person you're talking about. I'm not going to call him not good because Donovan Mitchell was having a very good season.
He's a very good player.
Yes, he's very
He's
impressive.
the second best rookie in the NBA.
But he's not Ben Simmons.
No, he's not.
Yep. Oh, my God.
Part of me wants to say, like, listen, I might just give Donovan Mitchell the Rookie of the Year because he's not going to win a championship and we're going to win, like,
Yeah.
5 with
I know.
Simmons. So it's like, here, you can have Rookie of the Year. We'll take the championships. That's fine with me.
Oh, God. I also laughed at the people saying, like, Simmons is not a leader that Donovan Mitchell is because of his comments.
So stupid.
He's selfish. Have you? That shows you haven't watched an ounce of Ben Simmons playing at all this season.
Watch 5 seconds of how he interacted with Markelle Fultz the game Markelle Fultz came back, and tell me he's not a leader.
Yeah.
Please.
Don't give me
Try and make that argument make
that. All
sense.
all these social media people, all these fans trying to chime in and say something they don't know anything about. David Roscoe says there's some interesting comments on here.
Yeah. I'm not gonna-
David Roscoe says Stephen A. Smith is stupid. Sixers will make a great run. Sixers JT says I've got a love-hate relationship with Stephen A. I love it when he shits on the Cowboys for 20 minutes.
True.
That is true. That's the one thing I do still enjoy. Deion Brown says I do not need all the national media to hope on the Sixers and or just Philly in general. I don't know what he means by that, but no, don't do it now. Or okay, I guess he's saying
on.
dick.
Yeah.
Don't do it now. And I do love Stephen A. He does make some points. He says in quotations.
What
No,
Deion's
no.
basically saying is that we don't need their support. If
Yeah.
they didn't start out supporting us, we don't need them now when we're actually doing
Yeah.
things, when we're winning
Agreed.
finally.
Yeah. Demon says, "Oh, don't get me started on race. I was called a white supremacist for not saying NFL doesn't like Lamar because he's black." Okay. Oh my gosh. TTP Ballin says the thing is with these debate shows is you have to keep in mind producers force them to disagree. While I love them, if they agree on every topic based on logic, there would be no show. Some of it is truly acting.
Well, that's why I call him a cartoon character. It's
Yeah,
not his
but-
fault. It's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
he's in the business of cartoon
He signed
characters.
up for it, and he
Yeah.
gets paid pretty
It's
handsomely for it. So that's
Cowhert's the
that's
same thing.
what
Like,
he
listen,
signed
they're
up
all in
for.
the same boat.
Yep.
That's
but
what they all
they-
signed up for.
And that same time, if they're going to be cartoon characters, and that's fine,
We are going
then
to
they
call
open
them
they
cartoon
open themselves up for
Criticism, yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
that helps them. So in a
Yeah.
way, you're welcome, Stephen A. You're
Yep.
welcome. We're doing you a favor right now.
Yeah.
Dion says, but as long as Skip Bayless stays away from the newly found Sixer love, I'm good.
Yeah.
Hashtag facts.
Am I
Oh
gonna get,
no, I think he already said it. I think
Yeah,
he
he
already
says-
said he thought the
yeah.
Sixers are going to make the finals. or
Yeah,
something.
he already did.
Am I gonna get kicked off this show? Maybe this station for saying I don't
No.
hate Skip Bayless that much anymore.
You're fine, whatever.
I don't even.
He's
Is
redeemed
he even
himself a
still a
little
thing? Is he still?
Well,
a thing?
I just feel
Is
like
he
he's
out there?
gotten lapped by Cowherd and Nick Wright. Like
Okay.
Skip Bayless, he's like, yeah, like I'm used to it now.
I
Like,
mean,
he's an old guy.
he's still a
not really making
moron.
much sense. He's
I
all
mean,
right.
just because he's
You
less
could-
of a moron in your
yeah,
book
you
doesn't
can-
make him not a moron.
Oh,
so
I
get it.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
He's just yeah.
You could keep them all.
Um,
I'm good.
Foolish Demon says it's funny because there are black people who don't like Screaming A. Smith.
think-
Rosca says,
yeah.
"Who is ready for the greatest Royal Rumble?"
Chrome's not
No,
here.
no, Chrome's not
Sorry.
here.
I
so-
am.
Oh, Ryan's.
I am.
Ryan,
Greg is.
Yeah, Guys, Greg he's off camera, but he's still standing here, he's listening.
Yeah, you want to? By the way, you want me to hook up a headset?
Sixers JT says it's all right. I can't wait to see what these Ben Simmons haters say next season when he really isn't a rookie.
It's true.
TTP Ballin says, honestly, I don't give a fuck if Ben wins it. MCW won it. Malcolm Brogdon won it. It's just
It's so
it's just
true.
it's just a feel
What
good
an
award that
illustrious
means,
list.
means absolutely nothing. Brogdon won Rookie of the Year, but how many All-Star appearances does he have?
Yo, but
Yeah.
here's what kills me too. Dario and Joel didn't get it last year
Nope.
because the Sixers sucked, right? That's what people said. That was the argument. And that's why Brogdon won because he helped the playoff team.
Well then,
And now there are going to be
Utah.
people who say Ben Simmons shouldn't get it because his team's too good. Make up your damn
yeah,
minds,
it's
people.
stupid.
What is the rule? Like, what are we
God.
going off of here? Like, what is the actual
Yeah.
rule?
Oh, that was the other. More people were saying also. Oh, but Mitchell's playing with a cast of like nobodies.
No.
Well, Ben Simmons is playing with a cast of all stars. Well, excuse me. For one, how many all stars are on this team? And two, keep in mind that maybe Ben Simmons makes those players better. I think that's part of how it works too. Just like I'm just throwing that out there. That maybe part of the reason why Ben Simmons is so damn good is because he makes everyone around him better than they actually are.
Fair assessment, Charles.
Well, my
Fair
thing-
assessment.
Dude, here's the thing, too. Getting lost in all of this.
Hmm.
The Jazz weren't they were a good team last year. They lost Hayward. But other than that, they were a really good team last year. They made the playoffs. They were a pretty high seed. So they swapped out Hayward for Mitchell, basically. And they've gotten a little better. They shorted their bench a little bit. But like it's not like he didn't take over a team that won 10 games 2 years ago like Ben Simmons did. Like it's just people they just don't have any basis for their argument. There's no logic. There's
They
nothing behind it. It's just they want Donovan Mitchell to win MVP or win Rookie of the Year because he plays for their team. That's it.
This is the
That's
sad-
it.
It's just typical NBA this time of year because they did the same thing with the MVP last year. You know what I mean? Like people would have the same discussions. Oh, who's the MVP? Harden or Westbrook? Oh, could it be LeBron? They did that for like 3 months because
Yeah.
this type of time of the year, there's nothing
It's
really
going to happen
else.
again this year with Harden and LeBron probably. Well, no, probably I think it's Harden's award to lose, but that's just me.
I agree.
Sixers JT says, have you guys heard what Skip Bayless said comparing
No.
Wentz and Dak? He
No.
still believes Dak is a better QB.
Because he's an idiot.
Of course, yeah, and he's a Cowboys fan. Of course, he's going to say Dak is better.
He has no other storyline to promote because he knows his Cowboys didn't make the playoffs. So he's like, oh, by the way, Sean Lee, remember him? Oh, Dak's still okay. That's it.
This is the kicker.
By the way, Sean Lee.
That's
it.
If
Anytime
Sean Lee wasn't hurt, the
Yes.
Patriots would have won the Super Bowl.
Yes, yes. TTP Ballin says people say Mitchell carried the Jazz to a 26-5 record. But what people fail to remember is
Gobert came back.
that never happened until Rudy Gobert got back.
Yep.
They were ass before then.
Yep. And what's the Sixers record now without Embiid the last 8 games?
We are still.
Oh, I believe they've won 8 in a row without
Yeah.
Embiid now.
Yep,
Cool.
still haven't lost. Still haven't lost.
But yeah, whatever. Push your narratives.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was going to say, how far do you think, right now, I mean, we've talked about this before, but how far do you think they'll go? Now, if they hang on to the 3rd seed, how far do you think they can go?
Well, I mean, this news that came out this afternoon about Embiid scares the living hell out of me.
Which are you gonna
Agreed.
show the mask?
I mean, I'll cheap plug it. If you want to see the mask, go to a2dradio.com on Facebook, Instagram, and
He
Twitter.
smoked it out.
It's worth it.
So
Yeah,
It's
it's
worth
seriously
it.
worth it. It's a click away. I mean, you know where we're
Yeah.
at. I mean, they know. But I mean, given that they are already saying that he's unlikely to play Game 1 makes me know that Game 2 is going to at least be a game-time decision. Like, I think he's going to play. I'm not saying he's going to miss the first. And, like, most likely we're going to play Miami, so it's kind of like.
If it's Miami, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's
the Pacers or something crazy.
If it's the Pacers, or if it probably wouldn't be the Pacers. Let's say you slip to the 4 seed. If it's the team that kind of scares me a little bit, even though they're in disarray right now, Washington.
Yeah,
I don't love facing John Wall.
Yeah,
I don't love that.
If you want to go by experience, absolutely.
And that too.
Yes.
And that too, playoff experience. That worries me. But I think if they play the Heat and they have to play 1 or 2 games without Embiid, I think in 7 games they win that. Not in 7 games. You know what I mean? I think they can win. They can win a 7-game series without Embiid.
To answer your question though, I think they lose in the Eastern Conference Finals in 6. That's just me.
The Cavs?
Yeah, to the Cavs. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
I would have them facing the Heat at the moment, and then the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics didn't scare me when Kyrie was healthy, to be honest with you, because he needs to be on. Like, I like Kyrie, and they have good pieces around him. But listen, I mean, I just don't buy into them. I wasn't scared of them when they were intact.
Yeah.
Now they're in disarray. They have a bunch of kids there. You know, the coach, I think he's a great coach, obviously.
Brad
but
Stevens is a great coach, yeah.
And I'm not saying we would sweep the Celtics. I would I honestly think it would go to Game 7, to be quite honest with you, or at least to 6. But for me, I think that we would beat the Heat. If it's going by if it ended today, for example, if we played the Heat, I would say that we would beat the Heat in 5.
Okay.
I would say that we would beat the Celtics in 7, and we would lose to the Cavs in 6.
Okay. I can't argue against that.
I would actually pretty much agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would say that I could see a scenario where, so let's say we get the Heat. If the Celtics get the Wizards, I think the Wizards could take the Celtics without Kyrie.
That's a good point.
And then so you might be stuck playing the Wizards in round 2, so that might be a little dicey.
Yeah.
Especially now if they won a series and they got a little momentum going, it's a little dicey.
You think there's any chance that Toronto can give Cleveland a run for their money?
No.
No
chance.
Just they have they have no answer to even slow down LeBron.
Yeah.
I can't.
Because you can't stop him. You
Yeah,
can't stop him. You need, like what the Sixers have is they have a couple guys who can at least give him a hard time.
Yeah.
And make him earn everything.
Yeah.
There's only one team that could give the Cavaliers trouble, in my opinion, and I guess they would end up playing them, the Pacers.
The Pacers are a pretty underrated team, man.
Yeah.
They're
the
very
Pacers
quiet.
are really interesting.
So, I mean, for me, I think there's only 3 teams that can make the Eastern Conference Finals. Really only 2, but if I had to throw a wild card in there, it would be the Pacers. But for me, I think it's definitely, unless something crazy goes wrong, I think it's going to be Cavs Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
Yeah. All right, so before we go, I'll just read the last 2 comments by Sixers JT. He says, Ryan, in that scenario, I think we beat the Cavs in 6.
Love it.
And we've proven we can beat the Cavs team without Embiid.
True.
So if he comes back.
The only thing to go against that is playoff LeBron. That's my only.
Can we stop
LeBron's
playoff
different.
LeBron? Yeah, but I think we can all agree that I think LeBron's Cleveland team now is one of the worst he's been on
Garbage.
in years.
That's why he's leaving in 3 months.
That's why he'll be in Philly soon, right, Ryan?
Philly, right?
That's correct, man.
He'll be in Philly. Well, it was a good show. It was we missed Chrome. He'll be back next week.
Who? Love you, buddy.
Next week we
Not
should,
even close to
yeah,
being serious. I love you so much,
know.
buddy.
We missed you, Chrome. We'll have a safe fight back. Next week we'll talk probably a little bit more draft. I mean, I'm guessing with it being a week and a half, with it going to be a week and a half away, there's going to be a lot of news starting to come out. So talk more draft, and we're going to be in the middle of first round playoffs for both the Sixers and Flyers. So we'll be talking about that as well. So thank you guys for tuning in this week. It was great. I loved hosting, and hopefully Chrome is back, so I don't have to do this next week again.
I loved it.
I can sit down.
Please, Chrome, every
I
back.
can sit down over there, so I don't have to direct traffic all the time. But thank you to
I kind of
Stream
like
Smart.
sitting over here.
Yeah, you know you do. Thanks for Stream Smart. Thank you to BMW for Atlantic City Studios. And thank you for Scanzano Sports for sponsoring our poll question. Ryan's at the 1s and 2s. Paulie, I was about to call you Crow. Paulie from NBC Sports Philly. Thanks again, Greg, for coming in, being an audience member. We thank you guys again. We will
Live
see.
audience.
Yeah, tune in tomorrow for Ryan's The Fix and for AM and the PM featuring Tom and Mike. We will see you guys next week. Let's go Sixers. Let's go Flyers.